All right, all right. Hello, hello. Welcome everyone back to a special Wednesday edition of the Happy Hour Show. Today we have special guest, e-commerce entrepreneur, crypto investor, Dave Levine. How you doing down there, Dave?
Fabulous.
Fabulous.
Can't complain.
We also have familiar panelist slash co-host Wendys4Tendies. How you doing over there, sir?
Great. It's a Wednesday. I got confused. I was telling people, hey, I'm on Cabana. And they say, wait, it's Wednesday. And I said, wait, oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's not Friday.
It's not the usual Friday happy hour, but yeah. So this stream goes back, I guess, a little bit because I've watched Dave's videos for years now. Don't want to date ourselves too much because he's been putting out a lot of content. But what I do like about Dave is he's open to changing his worldview when the situation warrants. So there have been times where he's been big in names such as Bitcoin or bigger, Stellar. And he's, as far as I understand, he can elaborate on this, currently big into Ethereum. And that has pretty much shifted over the years there. So I guess I don't know how much time we have here, Dave, but I guess let's just get right into it. What is your current take on the state of Ethereum? Where we're at, where we're going possibly with 2.0, perhaps when, or is it a joke by now as to like it's going to be delayed forever? What's your current take on the status of Ethereum?
Well, back in 2014 or 15 when they launched, Vitalik just had a post too about where we've come or whatever, and he showed from 2014 it was like proof of stake launching in 6 months, and he posted it as because it's so funny. I mean and they were somewhat famous for, a little Elon Musk-ish. And, I just heard Elon Musk say, when's self-driving coming? This year. I mean, he's been saying that for every year for the last 5 years.
Starlink too, right?
Starlink is out. Yeah, Starlink seems to be happening. But
it's still slow rolling, but yeah.
Right. But anyways, yes, these things are always, can be tricky. But I got to say that Ethereum sort of stopped with all that a few years ago, and has pretty much been on schedule, especially if you consider they say 6 months from now, so it'll be 8 or 9 months. I mean, but it's been, these upgrades have been coming right on schedule and working as advertised for a few years. Proof of stake, I mean, a year ago, we thought it would be in the first quarter of 2022. I don't know, might end up being the second quarter, maybe the third. I mean, it's not, and I have no doubts of it launching, and I'm not that worried about a couple months later than expected. I don't think that matters. I think it not working or never launching would be a big deal. I don't think I don't apply any risk to proof of stake Ethereum 2.0 launching. So I'm not worried about that. The main issue with Ethereum is, the analogy I like. I have two analogies. One, I like my new analogy is the club scene analogy. So Ethereum is the hottest club in town, like the coolest people, the richest guys and the hottest ladies, and not to be too sexist or whatever, but
it's okay.
It's the cool club, right? And right now it's 12:15 and you can't get in. So, and whatever reason, it's a popular night, and everyone's like, okay, well, let's go to this other club. We'll go to this other club, and these other clubs are fine. They got alcohol, they got a DJ. People are having fun, and then people are like, you know what, this other one's fun. This could be the next best, and I guess. But Ethereum's building a second floor to the club with plans they could build more and more floors. And right now, everyone's just like, well, these other clubs are better because you can get in and then the drinks are cheaper. But as soon as Ethereum opens up the second floor, a lot of the people from these other clubs are going to leave and go to the Ethereum club. The other thing is these other clubs, obviously my analogy is whether it's Solana, Phantom, Terra, every other layer one, they're, I guess this is my other analogy. If you imagine the entire universe of transactions on blockchains is the size of a hot air balloon. And inside that balloon is, there's a small regular balloon that you would get for a kid, right? Is inside there. That's Ethereum. And that balloon is filled. And their scaling is they're going to be able to attach other balloons to it. And then you've got Solana, which is better technology. It can do more. And that's a bigger balloon than the Ethereum balloon. But eventually that's going to fill up too, and they're going to run into the same problem that Ethereum runs into, which is scaling. Now, you may say, Solana is going to do better than Ethereum at scaling, and they're going to pass Ethereum. Okay, in 5 years, maybe 10, that could be the case. But where we are right now, I think people are judging these other chains as awesome because it's just whatever. They're not at capacity. And eventually they will get at capacity and have this issue. So I think I also have a rule of thumb, which is don't start jumping ship to the new thing when you're near the end of a bubble. The time to pick your horses is in the bear, when everyone's ignoring everything. You got a clear mind, everyone's pessimistic. You ride that thing, then you get your crash. I may get into Solana, but I will do it when we've had our 80% drawdown. I may like Phantom, any of these. And I'm already on Terra. I put a little in there and it went way up and nice. But not to the point that I mean, it's just too early. So I don't, if this bull market continues much longer than I expect, and therefore Ethereum's fees continue to stay super high and tons of people are coming, they could lose significant market share. But I think if the bear market is starting soon, things start going down, Ethereum fees go down, and I think that I think that this is. I do think there'll be other chains. I am sure there will be other chains and other layer ones. I just think people are way ahead of themselves right now.
Okay, so obviously this is more of a pulse chain audience. And speaking of other chains, I guess that's the perfect segue into it, because you did mention the Solana and there are others like Avalanche and things like that. Do you have a take or current view on Pulse Chain, as Richard Hart is forking Ethereum? I know in the blue room we were discussing as to why he did it. Initially, it was to lower the fees for the Hexkin community, but it turns out he's doing a full system state copy of the Ethereum blockchain. So I was just curious as to your take on in regards to Pulse Chain, any questions or comments that you might have about it, and we can then open up to our panel for discussion here.
Can I first address the Hexicans, which I learned? I was on Richard's show a couple times, and one thing I've learned that this group of characters who, listen, if you've invested in Hex, I believe it's beat Ethereum. It has beat most things. It is fabulous. You're all very rich right now. I like Richard, always liked him. I have nothing against Hex. I mean, I apply risk to it. I'm sorry, but I never said it's stupid. It is definitely not a scam. And I said that from day one, it's not a scam. Everybody with the stupid scam word, restaurants fail all the time, not because they're scams, but because the food's not good. I mean, and maybe if Hex fails, it won't be because it's a scam. So first of all, I just want to say all of that, because when I talk about Hex, even if I say, I think it's great, but I'm not putting my money in it, then it's like, well, have fun staying poor. You're a moron. Like, I'm not poor. I'm not a moron. I'm doing fine. And I talk about why I have not invested in it. And the other thing is, for a lot of these Hexicans, I joke a lot about you need, make sure you have tissues ready, because they're going to cry. It's like, oh my God, uncertainty in my investment. And they just like are, and and I just envision them. Like, I feel like I can see the tears on the keyboard when they're writing comments. And it's
to be fair, that's really everybody in crypto. It really is just new people versus OGs,
There is a lot of that, the whole FUD thing. It's like fear, uncertainty and doubt. If you hold any investment and you don't have uncertainty and doubt, or you don't know the bear case, like, you're not.
Yeah, then you're
you
just
don't know
not
what you're
being
doing.
rational.
Yeah, you haven't researched enough. Fear means you put too much money in, and that's a different problem. But so, anyways, that's my first thing. Because the other thing is, if I say anything slightly negative, or then it means I hate Richard. And, he's like, no, and I'm saying it's a scam.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I was gonna say, and to Wendy's point, that's quite accurate, especially in the recent dip from the all-time high that we have had. A lot of the loudest voices were people who were newer to the product, as opposed to those who have been in for a long time. So you can definitely tell the difference there. So yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Or even crypto in general.
We're down
Yes,
right now,
yes.
if people think we're down or this is a bear market, I assume it's your first one. Like
Right.
it has not begun. Like how many times does something have to fall by 50% before you start to go, wow, now I know pain, so please. Anyways, so I feel like I should talk about my thought on Hex just first, which is, I view it, and this is not an insult, is that I don't view it as DeFi, I view it as a game. Okay. The reason I say that is it's like, and I'm not against games. Like, it's like, and some people may say that's an insult. Oh, it's a game. I mean, there are gaming applications or gambling and all these things that do great and fabulous businesses, and it's a billion-dollar industry, billions of dollars industry. I happen to focus on DeFi. Now, originally, when Richard started his thing, it's like he calls it a CD. You lock it up, you earn interest, and you can look at it as a DeFi product. And I remember originally talking with him, I was like, he was saying something about, and I said, yeah, well, your thing is DeFi, aren't you? But because it's not integrated into anything else, it's not DeFi to me, right? So it's just a standalone thing. I don't see, you can't deposit your Hex into Aave and Compound or lock it in this and all of these applications that work together and play together. It's this standalone thing.
Because it's finished and complete, though.
I would say
that's good, right?
I would say
it is what it is. I mean,
I would just say it's closer to Bitcoin. It's a store of value. Whatever you want to call that, it's closer to that.
Yes,
than
I would
necessarily
say that,
some other products. But also that is a good thing, right? Because it means there's less vectors of attack. I've used all kinds of DeFi, and I can tell you there's a lot of vectors of attack. And if you exploits, all kinds of stuff, right? That somebody's going to figure out an exploit later, and look no further than Richard's Heart long stream of exploits and hacks and stuff. When code is locked, when it's all it's doing is inflating and paying stakers, the simplicity is the best part about it.
Yeah, I mean, I see that, and that so far that has certainly worked. I think my thought is it has less use because it's not, when I think of my DAI, I can lock it in this, I can lock it in that, I can be a liquidity provider here, I can do all of these things, and it's integrated. I feel like what is the total market cap of
so
Hex,
what is the purpose of locking DAI? What are you doing that for? To make money, right? Well, Hex has made more money than anything you could have possibly invested in the last couple of years. So, when you're talking about that, it makes perfect sense. I mean, people look at Bitcoin, everybody's, enthused with Bitcoin. It's like owning Bitcoin, but also owning all the miners, right? And the funny thing is people don't realize that Hex is actually inflating less than Bitcoin currently. It's inflating less than Bitcoin currently. And it has since inception. And Hex has outperformed not only Bitcoin, but Ethereum since measured from inception. So we're not even counting like, oh, the 1 month, the 2 months, the 1 year. We're literally talking about Ethereum at ICO and Hex at ICO.
Does anyone know the market cap of Hex? I can't. It's not showing it on CoinGecko.
If you go, it's, I mean, they every one of those ranking sites has a different way of putting the market cap on it up there. But like if you go to etherscan.io and just click on the Hex token, you can see right on there. It'll tell you the market cap of it. That's probably like the best way to look at it. Really.
Do you see that without me trying to figure it out here?
Sure.
And so to that other point there on what is the point to make money, but when I look at the stickiness of something, so In other words, DAI, is an important trading liquidity in a bunch of decentralized exchanges, or it's a if it's used in all of these other applications, it's not just the price, and DAI is different because also it's a stable coin, but people aren't going to dump it as quickly. So
DAI's got its own issues,
game,
right?
like
DAI originally was backed by Ethereum, and now it's backed by a whole bunch of shit, right? So like originally DAI was great.
Yes, but my point is this:
and then not only that, but like the backing, like the fact that like so many people have locked up their money for so long, they can't dump the price. I mean, when you see somebody come in like the Godwhale dude and come in and triple the price and then take those coins and lock them up for 15 years, like those are gone. They're gone. No one's selling. Those are not sell pressure for the next 15 years. That is amazing. I mean, like that's like every other DeFi product wishes they had that.
Yeah,
well, that sounds like a definition of stickiness, if you ask me.
Okay, yes, and if you look at the, I remember there were charts, and I haven't looked at it recently. I'm like, and you're really good at looking at how many coins are available and how many are locked up for how long, and you time it. It's just a supply demand thing. But
the idea would be over time is that ideally that people choose the right time, the places with less stakes, so that we find a gradual curve of unstakes, over time, because people should find, it's smart to, put their stakes in between where other people are unstaking, so they're not all sell pressure at one point or another. That's like, and you've kind of seen that. It's not perfect, obviously.
It's happening over time.
But it is happening over time.
So, yeah, I guess, and again, I'm not saying here that this thing is bad. I'm saying it doesn't fit. I feel like it doesn't fit. Maybe you guys educate me and change my mind, but that it doesn't fit into my investing, my small area of, expertise or interest.
Okay, I got it. So you like DAI, you like USDC, you like using like Aave and all that kind of stuff, right?
Well, I'm interested in DeFi, so I'm trying to be invested in the top borrowing lending protocol, the top decentralized exchange, the top decentralized stable coins, and the top decentralized platform.
Okay, well, imagine you owned a warehouse full of Bitcoin miners, and you took that income that those Bitcoin miners produced, you went into cash, and then you used DeFi. And then you bought more Bitcoin miners or diversified into cash for a bear to buy more. These are all things you can do with Hex. Like you can sell your Hex interest every month and buy USDC, buy DAI, and then use DeFi whatever way you see fit. I mean, that's the good thing. Is like
and like the comedy on the DeFi thing is that like Hex could be very much a part of that if they chose to interact with us. Like, I mean, the Quick Swap team had Hex to liquidity mining. And they were part of the quick rewards for a long time. I mean, I'm not sure if they are anymore, but like, it's not about like, that's the fallacy of DeFi. Like, if it was that actually decentralized, more than like, we wouldn't be gatekept so much. We can be added to all these platforms. We work just like any other ERC20 token. It's the centralized, people that are controlling what they want to add and not add that are actually the pain point that keeps Hex from being more of a DeFi product. So
why is it not included? Because it's not. I mean, Aave has a community and they vote, and they could decide to add Hex, and maybe it's just that nobody likes it.
Nobody likes Richard, and and because of that, everyone's careful. Has loved the scam narrative. I mean, they cling to that one. So like, a lot of people won't touch Hex with a 10-foot pole because they don't find that there's like, and I'm not gonna lie, you also brought it up. I mean, like the Hexkins might not like this, but our rabid nature keeps people from wanting to interact sometimes, because like.
Well, there's also another huge thing, and it's called opportunity cost, right? What is the opportunity cost for having your Bitcoin on Aave? It's not very high necessarily. Hex, you can earn up to 40% APY if you stake it properly. So there's a reason why a lot of people don't have incentive.
In other words, well, even if you could lock it in Aave, you're not going to go lock it there because you're earning more in Hex.
Exactly. That's why Hex is not it's not like a good trading pair, right? Like you don't trade it because people buy it. They either sell it or they lock it up and put it out for years, months, whatever. It comes off the market.
The thing that scares me is that it because it is sort of a self-contained thing. Like I remember seeing this with LUSD, if you're familiar with that stable coin. It was like a similar thing. It's like, well, we got our coin and then you go stake it in our own thing. And I'm like, I'm not able to put this to words, but it's this idea that if the thing of activity goes, it's more diverse through a whole economy with many different actors locked up in many different places. I believe that is more sturdy. So within now, Hex is its own little or its own big thing that is sort of self-contained, and it's been going straight up. But I fear that something like that is self-contained has the risk, and I've been wrong till this point, right? It has basically gone straight up. Lately, it did come down some, but who knows? That could just be a pause for a moment. But because it's self-contained and everyone's in it because it makes money, if it starts consistently not making money, it has nothing to support it, and it goes the other way.
Take that same argument and apply it to Bitcoin that went up 6 million x. Bitcoin was not used in DeFi. It was completely self-contained on the Bitcoin network.
I agree. That's why I got out of Bitcoin. 2020, I went from 70% Bitcoin to 70% Ethereum. I think.
When did you get out of Bitcoin though?
January 2020. I got a video to prove it, which was
Well, that's great. That's great, but Bitcoin came out in 2009, and Hex has been out 2 years. So that would be like selling in 2011.
Yeah,
and again, don't take my word for it. Go look into Hex.com. Look at the chart. We are outpacing both Bitcoin and Ethereum from their inception. So where Bitcoin was at that specific time, we're outpacing them. So what I'm saying is, I agree, and I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that Hex. Look, I've been in crypto a long time. I was a top Ethereum holder. I know about pain. Okay, I know about pain. I've watched millions and millions and millions evaporate more than once. I'm not saying that Hex is exempt from that. What I'm telling you is that there is a use case. The store of value is real. It's currently less inflation than Bitcoin, and the community is growing exponentially. I invest from a risk reward ratio. Okay. I was already rich when I found Hex, and I didn't put everything I should have put. I wanted to put a lot more. I wanted to put all my Bitcoins in it. All of my friends told me I was absolutely crazy. They're like, you're already like, doing well. Like, what are you doing? If I would have done that, I probably wouldn't even be here talking, I'd be on a throne somewhere in a castle next to Richard. But here I am. So, all I'm saying is that from a risk reward ratio, I think it's lazy to not be in it, because the passive income, the staking ladders, all that kind of stuff, it just takes a lot of mental stuff out of the market. I've done DeFi, I've done liquidity farming. It's all great, and that's why I'm excited for PulseChain, because PulseChain, you said that you were interested in decentralized exchange coins. He literally invented the best one. I mean, if you've not looked into PulseX, that thing's going to be insane.
Well, this is my other thought on PulseChain, which is my guess, and I don't know, is he's created another chain, which is going to be for Hex. So Hex
it's going to be for everything. I mean, think about it like this.
Hex will go on there, but will anything else go on there? I mean,
I'm assuming you've used multiple chains, right? You've used, I'm sure, like Matic and other things, right?
Yeah.
Look, liquidity goes where it's treated best. Okay. Look at the vampire attack with SushiSwap. They started paying. Uniswap lost billions of dollars in a day. Okay. So people will go where there's incentive. Like, I know that for sure, because I've been the millions in liquidity that's left the chain. I've left Ethereum to go play on other chains. So if there's incentive, and the other thing is pumpamentals. Look, nobody makes pumpamentals like Richard Hart. Okay, I was in Ethereum early. I remember inflating at 8% and being like, oh my God, when staking, when all these things, and it wasn't until a non-developer came up with the idea for EIP 1559, which, I mean, it was met with some resistance, from the miners and everything like that. It wasn't until then that we actually had like strong economic like fundamentals, okay, with Ethereum. Like Hex or PulseChain has it from the start. PulseX has it from the start, and the incentive is even better. It's deflationary from the start. There is no inflation, and I think if anybody is cares about money, cares about making gains, then they would seriously look into both.
Well, the other thing for me, I'm not a it's funny when you get into crypto, normal people, non-crypto people think I get into stuff so early. I'm a genius. I'm so early. But in crypto, I'm slow. I don't like to buy stuff pre-launch. I like stuff to launch, see if it works.
I totally get that. But what I'm saying is like, I told you, I look at things from a risk reward ratio, right? It's the same reason I went in Hex day one. I didn't go crazy. And I'm assuming if you've been in Bitcoin early, if you're in Ethereum early, you're worth a lot. It would be lazy and it would be crazy, in my opinion, to not do the research and see the fundamentals behind it. Because there's three things that I look for as a crypto investor. You can follow all these fake gurus online and they'll tell you all these great things about all these coins, but it don't matter. Down 95%, down 99%. The three things that matter in crypto is having a great founder, right? Because people love a populist. Look at Charles Hoskinson. ADA is complete garbage, but people love him. That's one thing that matters. The other thing,
and I don't love him.
I'm not saying you do. I don't love him either, but I'm saying that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. It was a good investment. That's what I'm saying. And so, good founder, fundamentals, right? If the coin has things built into it. So Bitcoin with the halving. If Bitcoin didn't have the halving, would it have been a good investment? I don't think so. Ethereum EIP 1559, look what that's done for it. I mean, and then with the merge, it's going to be even better. So the fundamentals, and then 3, market fit, right? People are sick of fees. Look, I try to get some of my friends into crypto that don't have a lot of money. They got $500 and they say, hey, I got $500. I want to, come over to Ethereum. And I'm like, man, it's literally like not even worth it. It's not. And they're like, well, you're telling me that like, I don't have enough money to invest. Like it's kind of sad. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of fucked up, but yeah, that's the situation. So if they can onboard to a chain that's got, 1/1000th of a penny to transact, if they can come over there and potentially see gains, well, then maybe they can use Ethereum down the road. But like those people need to, see economic gains before they're even able to think about Ethereum.
Oh, my other point about not being too early is because, first of all, if this thing is a winner and you got, talk about this guy who locks it up for 15 years, it's a long game. I like playing a long game. To me, I like 5 years.
The risk reward with Hex is just too much to like. You don't have to. I mean, I have a buddy who put in $3,000 in the first month, and he's got $5 million. There's not much to risk, for anything.
Hex has not yet been through a bear market, so for me, that's a huge. And I have this for a lot of investments. I'm just like, oh, I can't wait to see. I mean, I love Frax FXS. That thing looks really cool to me. But and Terra Luna, you just had Rune from MakerDAO saying the thing's a Ponzi. I was like, I don't know, that seems a little strong, but well, we'll see what happens in a real bear market. I mean, these things could collapse.
The question is, will you actually buy in a bear market?
Oh, I buy. Yes, I don't. I stopped buying. I started selling a year ago. I've been dollar cost average selling it for a year, and
so you're waiting for like a 95% drop in Hex to pick some up and try it out.
First of all, at 95%, and and I would that's when I look at my new things for the next bull run. I will invest in other chains for the next bull run, but I like Phantom too. But I'm like, I'm not like start now.
Well, you have to also. I mean, like,
and look at Hex. I'm just looking at it today. It's down. And now listen, this is one day, and maybe the bear market started 2 days ago. I don't know, but. I do fear that, I'm looking at my things. ETH is down, whatever, 5-6%, unless everything. It's down, Hex is down 17%. Let me see, unless everything's down 17. But my guess is it is, ETH is only down 9%. But, I just feel like it could go further. And then wait till we hit that bottom and then look at the adoption rate and what's going on and all these hexicans who thought there was zero risk, then look at it, and then I would get in. I don't think now for me, now, granted, I was there in 2019. Didn't it launch in 2019? I mean,
Yeah, at the end, it was
December.
But at that point, it was like, when I was on talking to Richard, he was explaining all of his pumpamentals, and I was just like, dude, I don't fucking get it. This is too confusing. Everyone was yelling at me, "You're so stupid," and I'm not the best at math, and obviously some people understood it, and I was just like, I don't know, it's not for me. I'm sorry, and I missed out on God. I mean, it just kept going. So, but I'm wait and see, and I just want all the hexicans to understand my point, which is you need to know it's fine if you think it's going to survive and the bear market is going to go down the least if you think, but you need to understand the possibility that it is new, it is a risk asset, and it's gone up the most. It can also go down the most. Possible.
Yeah, anything's possible for sure. Yeah. We're in the wild west of finance, right?
Now turn to something that I think that I can agree with all of that. But even if we are towards the end of a bull market or maybe in the beginnings of the bear market here, I mean, EOS launched in the middle of a bear market and did a 40x, and that is very possible with PulseChain coming up. PulseChain hasn't launched yet and has no sellers, that are ready to, dump the price. There doesn't even exist yet. So I think that the ability to get into a new project early, that has a lot of legs on it is right in front of you again. It's done by the same dude who made one that you missed out on, and I think that it offers it's a lot. We can already tell it's a lot easier for people to grasp. I mean, you can see it because the Telegram room is grown exponentially more than the Hex one has in the length of time that Hex has even existed. I mean, but PulseChain, people get it. It's super easy to understand. Forking Ethereum, system state, period. I mean, it's so I'm expecting amazing things from that. And
outperforming in a bear market, that's a fabulous signal. But I don't like predicting that, especially something like that. I remember when Binance was going up in the bear market in 2018, and I was like, wow, this thing is for real. And then when the bear market ended, I got in, and then I didn't like it because it's centralized, and I sold it at $30. Some may argue that was early. But same thing. I mean, that is a thing to look at. On the other hand, in a bear market, everyone might say, you know what? We don't need all these other chains now. The fees on Ethereum are really low, and
they would have to go down.
It could be a scenario where all of these other chains start to go down more. I mean, it's possible.
True. That is true. I mean, the ones that have no adoption will definitely go down more. I could believe that. Now the thing is, I don't think that Ethereum fees are going to be, even through a bear market, are going to be, until there's some 2.0 comes out, they're not going to be anywhere near reasonable. I mean, and what I mean by that is that a certain applications, Hex included, they actually use read and write space that we do, the S-load function that we use, which is important for a lot of different projects out there, has gone up. The only thing that's gone up more than Hex in this bull run is the Ethereum fees. That's true. If you chart the cost of Ethereum fees, they've gone up more than the price of Hex. I mean, that's
easily.
And I mean, I don't know how expensive your stuff was when the
pennies.
It was a cent. It was a cent. It was 1 cent
to stake and unstake. And now, I had
a
friend who tried to unstake 5,000 coins, and they're trying to pay $1,000. It's untenable.
One of the things in a bear market is not just that prices go down, but volume goes down a lot. So again, these are. I
just mean that even if we go to baseline back to where we were, then guaranteed the fees are still going to be at least 24x higher for a lot of these projects, especially ones that use that function and aren't as nearly gas efficient, because Hex is actually super gas efficient as opposed to Decentraland or any of these other blockchain sandbox whatever that are out there that they use tons of gas and that S-load function a crap ton, and you see it, you can't even you can't even use the program that they built. So I mean, that stuff will stay like that until Ethereum 2.0 comes out for sure.
Well, in the long run, it's layer 2. Everything has to go to layer 2.
Yeah,
but I'm hoping we have a
2.0 is not going to fix it.
window of low fees so that, you know, it's not like you have to be on L2 today or you're screwed forever your whole life. You know, like I'm assuming there's going to be a drop in gas fees and that lasts for a little while. And then next time it goes up, it's ball game, because now everybody's going to be on a layer 2 or some other chain. And, you know, yeah, I agree with that. I was going to say something else too. Don't know.
But yeah, I mean, if it's a $5 transaction or a 10,000th of a cent, I'd rather transact at a 10,000th of a cent, even being rich. I mean,
well, and that's the thing is, if you've got a system that you can bridge these coins, if you want to trade Ethereum Chainlink, you'll be able to do it faster and cheaper with bridged over on PulseChain. You know, like that. And then if you want to move your coins back over, you can when you're done. But like, if you are doing that kind of thing, it'll still be more efficient to do it over on the other chain. Which I mean, there's already some of that going on, you know. But I still don't think it's as good as PulseChain. I mean, like, I do love the idea that because everyone's going to get a copy of their stuff, you know, if you're into DeFi and liquidity mining and all that kind of stuff, like, when have you ever gotten the other half of the pair for free? You know, you can stuff both pairs in the whatever pair, you know, and let them fight it out. You know, I mean, it's pretty interesting concept, and you'll be able to get liquidity mining rewards for it too. You know, so I mean, I think that there's definitely a lot of people that'll be interested in.
It might, you know, it also a little bit reminds me of, I think, because another thing that I don't know that much about, haven't invested in, that's done fabulous, is Axie Infinity, right? That's the, you know, if you're familiar with the game, you get your things and you breed them, and it's a whole game, and it's just within itself, and that has made a ton of money, super popular, people love it, and then they created their own chain just for Axie Infinity. It's all doing great. It keeps going up. And then I actually, you know, was talking to Jiho, one of the founders of the thing. And, you know, and I was talking to him about, you know, what people say is that, well, it's a, what do you call it? It's not a Ponzi, but it's a, you know, you just need more people coming in.
Pyramid.
As soon as you don't have more people coming in,
greater fool.
then it just starts to unravel. But he was
but I guess that is, but I still think that that's like most of everything in the world. Like, you have to have static or increasing demand if you want prices to go up in anything, in everything.
Well, yeah, but if you're creating value,
I mean, tell me something.
Let me just finish the point. But what he told me was, it's like, well, they can keep creating value in the game, and I barely understand the game, so I'm not sure I can explain this well. But it's like, well, it's not just new people, it's the existing people, but now you can do this new thing. And so, they're going to spend more. It's not just paying to get in. It's now you're in and you're spending money to do all these other things. And so they felt like it can go on. The other thing is, well, it's just, you know, you're going to keep piling on more things and it can go on for 10 years, which is not a bad thing at all either. So I don't know, you know, Hex could be a similar thing in that, they just need more people. And I don't know, there's a lot of people on the planet that keeps going on for 20 years. It's like,
well, yeah, I mean,
someday it ends, and then I can say I'm right, and 20 years later, and everybody else is.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing is, when you make predictions, you got to put a time rate.
I was about to say, is that the time frame? 20 years?
You could be like, you know, like, if I could say Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million and $0, and I'm probably right on both, you know. But like, what time period am I going to give me for that? You know, so it's like, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Well, it's 20 years. All right. I can.
Yeah, you know. If it lasts, listen, if it keeps going straight up for 10 years, it's one of the greatest things ever. So, you know, like I said, I just want to say I'm not anti-Hex. I just, I'm going to wait for this bear market. If I see Pulse, you know, I'm sure it'll launch and work. Richard is like shockingly smart, and. You know, and if there's other things going on PulseChain, I mean, that would be interesting just as an investment in PulseChain. But the Hex thing itself, if it's kind of strong through a bear market, maybe as a store of value for some money, I guess I would look at it. I don't know.
I mean, it's actually definitely the most decorrelated crypto asset that there is.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Did you not like it when
when it was created in the bear market, and it was the only thing that was decorrelated to the COVID dip. If you go and look at the chart, it's completely mirrored the opposite of the COVID dip back in the bear market when it actually first came up.
Yeah, that was the greatest market crash of my life right there, man.
I do remember when it came out and it just kept going up, and I just couldn't believe it. I remember, yes.
Yeah,
no,
if you go
I have
like,
been
again,
very surprised by the Hex success. That is for sure. I mean,
there's actually many days, not just a crash day, but even just red days in crypto where Hex goes up. You know, it's pretty decorrelated, and yeah. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I know that bear markets bring pain. Perhaps Hex dips faster than everything, finds a bottom, and starts going up before everything else. You know, due to the liquidity, I could see that happening. But what I do know, I don't know what's going to happen. But what I do know is that there's a lot of people that are waiting for X to happen before they hop in, and I just always see those people just get left on the side, and it happens time and time again. The thing is, if you use Hex properly, you get such a good percentage that you don't have to worry about the market volatility that comes with crypto.
We've heard that narrative like eight different times now, seven market dips, 10 times. I'm gonna wait for it to dip and correct. It's like at what point do you choose your entry? And
it's done it 12 times.
I'll tell you when I choose my entry.
Hold on a second, Dave, real quick.
Yeah.
This is the most pivotal point in this. We're literally creating a whole new ecosystem. So Hex was the fastest appreciating asset of 2020 in the existence. Like nothing's outpaced it. So you already know that was at least a success. Is it going to fail in the bear market? Who knows, right? We won't get into that. But we're at this keystone event of an entire ecosystem that's getting created by the same founder, is PulseChain. It's a fork of Ethereum. It's a lot of the same traits that Ethereum 2.0 that wants to do, that's been promising for years, hasn't come to market. You're going to get a copy of the asset if you invest now. It is still in a nice, healthy dip. You have a PulseX sacrifice for essentially the Uniswap fork to grab that coin. PulseChain's going to launch. To me, the upside and the opportunity of an event like this taking place doesn't come along once in a blue moon. This is an opportunity to seize, not wait for the next bear market when everything's just destroyed. It's like, well, maybe this is my entry. And what if Hex continues to show its decorrelation? It shows to be the best asset in that bear market, and you don't get that low entry point you wanted to buy, and you could have had a copy, and you could have come in on the PulseX, and you could have come on the new PulseChain, and maybe it just steals away Ethereum's lunch, and Ethereum doesn't come back because 2.0 just continues to be a promise. I think the opportunity and the upside is actually far more substantial to get in now as opposed to wait and miss this keystone event that you just don't get these kind of opportunities.
There's never been anything like this in crypto. I mean, like there's been cool forks and stuff like that, whatever, but like I've never seen a fork that happens where we're taking the entire ecosystem and giving them like the opportunity, projects that are failing right now, the opportunity to coexist, which puts the ball in the hands of so many of these other projects. Even if the forked PulseChain version is worth 5% of what the Ethereum version is in any of these coins. I mean, they should build a front end and cater to their users and give them their value, and that's incredibly powerful. I mean, that like who wouldn't want that? I mean. So I think that it's like an upside like I've never seen before. I mean, in crazy ways. Like like the things that could happen as far as just how pairs trade and what goes on once it all goes live and there's a bridge between them is going to be very interesting at the very least. I mean, it's like I said, I've never seen an event like this in crypto. I mean, if anybody knows anything even close, I mean. Let me know because I can't remember anything like that. I mean, but like I said, we know that Bitcoin Cash fork, whatever, was like interesting, but this is like next level.
I guess the part that I look at that, I think what you were saying before about how, well, when is a good time and you might miss it. Like I live in this bubble, rather antisocial. I don't even watch news. I follow I'm in my own little world. And so I'm very sensitive.
Who watches news? I know it's not me. And I know it's a majority of my generation and younger coming up. No one watches the news anymore. It's trash.
But I'm sensitive to the differences in mood. And if not, when I go to my family party, family gets together every July at the lake. I remember late 2018, and I have the same. This is amazing what's going on in Ethereum. Look at these stable coins. Look at this DeFi. I mean, it was amazing things then. It's amazing things today. I don't see, to me, the fundamentals keep going, but the mood has a big difference. And the mood, when you are talking, and it's the mood and the expectations. In that summer, I remember if I said the word Ethereum or crypto, it was either making fun of me or they feel bad. You're still into that. I feel bad for you. Now everybody thinks it's the opposite. Oh, it's great. And I want to get in. And how can I get in? And so, to the things you're saying about Hex and PulseChain, you're talking about the bull case, which is real and true and might happen. But that is accepted. It's easy to say. People agree with you. And I believe a lot of that is priced in. I want to wait for when nobody wants to talk about this and nobody's watching this video and nobody cares and they hate it, but great things are still happening. And
that's right now. We're gatekept everywhere. We're gatekept everywhere. People call us scammers and block us.
This is easy. Me personally, I don't fucking invest in mood or feelings at all, right? And that's why I ended up finding Hex and getting here and learned very quickly this is the best source of passive income that exists on planet Earth. There's no overhead. You have the best yield that exists today in legacy finance and crypto. It's completely decentralized. You've taken all the middlemen out. I just have to rely on code and numbers. I could give two fucks about if the feeling of JPEGs of Bored Apes or CryptoPunks is doing. I don't give two shits about everyone thinks we're on our way to the fucking moon, because when you find the right asset during these cycles and you invest into them early enough and you get your position, you're going to do well, because this isn't about, oh, I'm gonna try to get a nice run up this cycle, flip back into USDC or fiat, and then wait for the next cycle. No, like when you find the next Bitcoin, you find the next Ethereum, it's a long-term hold, and no one exemplifies that more than this community and Hex, because you have billions of dollars that are locked by code. Billions for an average of over 6 years that doesn't exist in any market today, crypto or legacy. And that kind of asset has nothing but a recipe for success. So I don't give a fuck.
When did you get into crypto?
In crypto, 2016.
Okay, so you went through the 2018, and
yeah, I've got.
All of us have been through it.
Hold on. When did you get it? When did you get in, Dave? Because I like to know. I'm sure I missed a little bit of this, but I'd like to know.
In 2015, I was buying Bitcoin after. I actually saw it in like 2013 or so, I don't know exactly when, but didn't buy it. And then when it hit 1,000, I was like, I want it, but I knew enough not to buy it at 1,000, and I waited, and then was buying it. I bought some at 500. Went down 400, went down 300.
Yeah, I remember when Bitcoin was it was $608, it was $864, and I was like yelling at my wife. I was like, I fucking missed it. I missed it. I can't believe I missed it. I was very naive at the time, and like now I understand that. Like,
isn't it funny, guys, that we like, okay, yeah, I knew not to buy it at 1,000, or I knew not to buy it at that $500 mark. But it's you find the right asset for that time, and those long period holds. Like, okay, you think you made the correct call of not buying 1,000, but if you bought everything you had at 1,000 and you held up to all-time highs, I bet you probably would have been more profitable than you trading, probably getting a lower entry, but I'm sure you traded out of your position several times along the run up because you've gone through a couple cycles now. Again, and that's my whole point. It's like these cycles usually breed one or two assets that truly are game changing, that are revolutionary. You find them. This isn't a short-term play. Like, I have no desire to trade out of my position at any point, because that asset is going to continue to be a premier asset that does exist through the bear cycles. And Hex, the Pumpamentals, whether you want to call them cheesy or they sounded scammy to you at the time or you just didn't understand them, that gives Hex the ability to survive, unlike any other asset that we've seen in existence today. So to me, it's just,
I do like Pumpamentals, but
it is. It's a good term.
This reminds me, like the story I always say, which was in 2017. I was like, wow, I love Ethereum. And I would tell people, it's a great 5-year hold. Just buy it for 5. And it's like, well, it's going up, but and trust me, in 5 years, you'll be fine. And so it was at 500, went to 1,500 for a minute. And I'm right? Today, it's only 4 years later, it's much higher. But for 2 years, you could have bought it under $200.
Did you hold Ethereum all the way down?
I started buying, when it got below, because I was mostly in around, around 300, high 200s. So once it got below that, I was dollar cost average buying. My best was $100. I watched the 82 and it wasn't, didn't hit it. But
sounds like a good strategy. Sounds like a good strategy to apply to Hex right now.
Right. Would it have been easier to hold Ethereum if you were able to get 40% APY through the bear market? Because I didn't get shit through the bear market and I held Ethereum down 95%. So I can imagine I would have been much better mentally, if I was getting, 20 to 40% APY. And that's why the true holders
those
of Hex
things, I remember when they first came out with, I remember Live Peer was one of the first. There were a few coins that had you lock it up and you earn a lot of, you earn a high yield from inflation. And all those, and it sounded like a great idea because I'm like, well, it's locked, and those people get it, and then those coins got killed because
it wasn't truly locked. Like locked is like a joke term,
right? It wasn't the same. I get it. There's risk. Listen, I only said I was going to do a half hour.
Check this out. Check this little thing out that was really.
I got here late. It's my fault.
So recently, Hexagon that put his seed phrase onto a iCloud thing got hacked, right? And he lost $100 million+ worth of Hex, unstaked early. Painful, right? Painful. But how much of that $100 million did the hackers get? Less than $6 million, I believe, overall, were they able to sell. Because when they unstaked those coins, the penalties that those stakes received was so high that they got very, very little payout, which meant that there was very, very little sell pressure on the price of Hex. And who got all the rest of those coins? The rest of the holders that did the right thing that day. Their payout was about 5-6 times what we normally get paid out.
It was a four. It was a four.
4 times. Yeah, about 4 times what we get normally paid out, which is incredible. I would love, if there's and if you ask the person who got hacked, you said, hey, listen, the hacker can have the money or the community can have the money, which is better. You're not happy about it. You're not stoked, but at least that's better, I guess, and that's something that's built into the system that I've never seen anywhere. I don't where does that protects the price and does the right thing for the community,
Oh, it's completely unique. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist anywhere else.
All right. Well, listen, I'm watching.
Sorry. I get heated sometimes.
Dave, do what you did with Ethereum, DCA and now, and
I'm not buying anything now. I have been for a year. I've been dollar cost average selling for a year, and I still have too much. I mean, and I just follow the central bank.
If you have too much, why are you still here?
Can sacrifice some of that
because
for
you're here for more.
PulseX.
You're here for more, aren't you?
I'm
if you have too much, you wouldn't be here.
Do you watch
but if you want more, you're here for a reason.
You listen to Balaji at all? The network state. I'm here for the revolution, man. I'm here to learn and to understand, and I'm not here for money. And,
I'm here for the tech.
Crypto. Cabana. He pays me, but not that much to be on the show. But
what?
Anyway, you guys didn't get paid.
Lies.
He sent me he gave me a seed phrase for his Hex.
No one in Hex needs to get paid. That's for sure.
Look, Dave, I saw on your profile you're here for the 10x. We're trying to show you the 10,000x. And mark my words, we're gonna have you back on in a couple years.
But here's the time. I watched the central bank. And as I've been saying, it's tightening, or they stopped printing as much a little while ago. You never know the exact amounts. How much do they have to not print or less for things to go down, and how much do they have to pour in for it to go up? But I try to watch that, and we've been in this tightening thing. That's why it's going down more today. At some point, something breaks. They don't care if Hex breaks. They don't care if Ethereum breaks. But if one of their billionaire friends or some hedge funds start going bankrupt, they're going to throw in another 10 trillion. That's the end of the bear market, and that's when I'm going to start backing up the truck and converting stable coins and dollars into more stuff. And that's when I want to see where is Hex at that point, because I don't know how long this can go on. This inflation's a real problem. They let the market crash for 6 months. It can get ugly. So, we'll see what happens. But
I mean, I agree with some of that. I like to follow the whales too. So like, and if you looking at the whales that exist in Hex, they're all buying more. The way they're putting in more money. I mean, the God whale put in more money for PulseX.
I bought $200,000 a couple days ago. I literally bought $200,000 because I know what kind of opportunity is coming around the corner. Again, these key pivotal moments in crypto and a truly revolutionary asset, they just don't come. You get a few in your lifetime, and if you don't seize that opportunity, they pass you by. And like, I miss Bitcoin. I missed the Bitcoin run up. You're not gonna get anything but like, okay, a 2x, a 3x, like anything's a joke at this point. And I missed Ethereum. I mined it. I was still a little bit late, but I didn't get to see the crazy gains. This kind of opportunity, they come like once or twice a cycle, and if you don't seize them, they pass you by, and then you'll regret it for the rest of your life.
Dave, there's a guy in our community that has been dubbed the God Whale. So this guy was early on Bitcoin. I think he said it was like single digits or something. He invested in the ICO of Ethereum. He has hundreds of millions of dollars of Ethereum. And this guy has been buying Hex regularly. He bought just even, I think, like a couple months ago was like the last time. And he sacrificed for Pulse. He sacrificed for PulseX. This guy said that he believes that Hex is like what Bitcoin was supposed to be, and it is the like premier store of value. So this guy has been right more times than not, and he's got the money to make it happen. This guy could pump Hex to whatever he wants. So I don't bet against money like that. That's one thing.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm waiting. I don't know if the bear market has started, but I'm waiting for the bear. And when it goes down,
you do sound like someone who is scarred by a bear.
I've been through 7 bubbles, including living in Japan in 1990. I've seen this movie, and a couple of them I fell over my skis, tumbled a bit. Last few I've been riding them very well. This one has been, I was buying when it was low and everyone hated it, and I've been selling at highs when I've been riding it pretty good so far. But
the beautiful thing about
I'm not trying to be, if I become a billionaire by chance, I'll be happy about it. But
I will be
just trying to I want to protect. My thing is when everything went up so much, I'm like, okay, what is not going to go down 80%? Bought a beautiful home, all cash. Like, I don't care if everything goes to zero. I got an awesome place that I live, right? No mortgage, I don't have to deal with any of that bullshit, and I spent a lot of time thinking, what do I have that won't go all the way down? And you say I haven't been scarred. I mean, I've been through a lot of I've loved markets. Like I said, at the Japan internet bubble, I had an internet business. I was in the internet bubble, all my friends, and I was following it closely. The Bitcoin 1000 bubble, the 2017, this one, 1992. I remember my parents were in real estate in the 90s, and built condos and then built more. I've seen how it goes, and I'm just trying to ride it well. It's not out of fear and out of whatever. And I'm at a point now where I think it's very unlikely that I am going to need to work, to survive. And then I have financial issues. I can't fly private, but other than that, I'm all good. But nevertheless, I like to follow the shit, know what's going on, because it's fun, it's interesting, it's the future, and making money is sort of scorekeeping. And I don't know, I do it. I just love this stuff. I mean, that's why that's why I'm here. I'm trying to make videos every day, because I like the sound of my voice is my favorite.
I hate the sound of my voice. If you're here for the revolution, if you're here for the money, if you're here for the tech, literally Hex has anything that you want, everything that you said that you're here for. Hex has it all. The opportunity is here. It's up to each individual to seize it. Don't let it pass you by.
Well, maybe I'll buy some of your bags at the bottom.
You're not buying.
You're gonna get them from us.
I bought.
You're gonna get them from us.
I literally spent $200,000 a couple days, and it was my biggest buy to date, and I've been in since day one. Like, you're not getting my bags. Good luck. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah,
listen, and
I will hit a billionaire before you do. So
if you're buying,
it is what it is.
If you're buying something now, which I think is late cycle, just make sure it's for the long haul, because
Of course.
If it's good,
that's what I've been trying to tell you this whole
crashes
time.
and it comes back and goes higher.
We're staked for 15.2 years. Look, no other crypto has that.
Yeah, I just put in another
prove that
stake.
we're here for the long haul.
Actually, I was talking to Ty Lopez about, he's launched his thing, and he was like, "What do you think about Richard? What do you think about?" He's like, "What does he do?" And I said, "Well, for one thing, to lock it up, I'm like, I think they could do 15 years." And he's like, tells Alex, "We got to be able to. We got to stake longer. We got to have longer staking." He's copying those fun.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing is that like everything that you've seen, like there's a lot of things that are copied, right? Like that we already did.
See,
we did a lot.
The problem is people don't realize like there's a reason for everything. Like you're gonna have someone that tries to copy it, right? And they do it longer. The reason they were at first looking at 50 years, the only reason they didn't do 50 years was because it just didn't make sense with the gas fees on Ethereum when they were like a penny, when we had no congestion.
Well, it's not even just that too. It's also that like when you find out, like we also found the other factor that really changes is that when you only have 15-year stakes, it does leave meat on the bone to make the system still robust later. Like there's still a reason to buy in 10 years from now because those people have to turn in their shares within those, like the OGs eventually have to turn in their shares and then restake at a way worse share rate. And that makes it still like advantageous to buy in in the next 10 years. Whereas something
there's
with
a reason
50-year
there's a reason why Hex was delayed for over a year. This thing's been thought through in and out, and that's why I love to see copycats and people.
Yeah,
they try
tweak
one thing and they
fail.
get wrecked.
Destroyed.
The chart's just death. It's just death.
Because again, it doesn't have the three things, right? It doesn't have the three things. Like you can copy some of it, but you can't copy all of it.
Yeah, and I mean, Richard did an amazing job with Hex through the development over the 3 years to not only come up with a great product, but also sort like a lot of his like ideas came straight from the community. Like he was constantly asking a lot of people, for input and getting good input, and has an amazing knack for putting the right pieces of the puzzle together. I mean, we're laughing over and enjoying his lines, or like. He's the one who coined pumpamentals, that's straight from his, and now it's just like, regular vernacular in crypto, but like we got people that want to give him credit, it's wild.
All right, guys. Well, I got to run. Thank you. Appreciate the info. And we'll
this
be
was
back
fun, Dave.
at some
Appreciate you coming on, Dave.
Thanks. DaveLevine.com for anyone who wants to follow my musings on
Dave. Just buy a little Hex. Get a copy, bro. Just a little bit. It won't hurt.
Dave,
you got some money, Dave. I know you can spare a little change. Get a copy, bro. You'll thank yourself later.
Dollar Cost would like to say a word.
DCA, you already said it yourself. DCA.
Greedy hands.
DCC.
I think last time me and you had a really long conversation where you said we're going to do an hour and we ended up doing 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know. I usually can't stop, but I actually got some stuff to do today, and I got
just get a little Hex just to play around with it. Just get something just to see.
I do that kind of thing. I'm gonna wait. I think I'm waiting. I'm not. You missed the beginning. I just feel like I look at these cycles. I feel we're in a tightening. I feel like it's bear. I want to wait till the Fed is freaking out and they're going to start printing again, and then I figure out all my new positions for the next bull run. Right now, I feel like there was the last bull run. I did great. I'm happy. De-risking. And then I will venture next. But I'm watching this thing. It has surprised me. If it surprised me through the bear market, I mean, listen.
I mean, I'll say right now, if you get it, say within the next 2 to 3 months, it'll be your last chance to get a copy of it on the Pulse chain. So
get that.
Just something else to consider. That's all. Get the stock split. Yep, there you go. Yep. Think of it that way.
Get that Amazon stock split before it goes.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, thank you. I will take a look. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on, Dave.
Have a good one, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
What's up? Thanks for coming by there, Dollar Cost Crypto.
Yeah, it took a lot out of me to come out of here, man. I'm so sick right now.
I heard, man.
We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
So
it's like
good to see you're alive anyway.
Oh, man.
Well, I'm down 10 pounds. Pretty cool.
Oh, dang. Yeah, so I mean, I guess we can put a bow on it for a little bit, but I mean, it was a good chat, but nothing. I've heard him talk about Hex before in the sense of, you know, like he said to me multiple times in the past, what does it do? And I'm like, well, it's, you know, time value of money.
Well,
it's
listen, this guy,
Bro,
he
said he
has
invests
to
off
do
feeling.
stuff. But he's like he's ADHD. Like he has to be doing something, right? So he gets his DAI and he's like, okay, I'm gonna put it in Aave, and then I'm gonna take a loan on it, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that. Like that's why he like Hex is not for him. He's gonna either try to like out trade it, whatever. You know, like the kind of people that we get in the community are long-term thinkers, and he's not. He's literally thinking about what the Fed's going to do in the next few months.
And maybe like a PulseX is more his speed then, because then he can play and tinker.
Yeah, I mean, he literally said that. He said, I want to own decentralized exchanges. So, and that's why I told him about it. But hey, we'll see.
He's gonna buy Hex at $1 in the bear market, like, and he's only gonna be able to buy one of them. He's not even gonna get the copies. So, I mean, there's just unfortunately there's people like that you're not gonna be able to bring along the way. So, it is what it is. You try.
Yeah. Like me and me and Wendys, I'm sorry. Me and Cabana were telling him about him. Like, what was Hex's price at the time? It was pretty low, dude.
Like a third of a cent, maybe.
A cent, yeah, dude. For like 3 hours.
Correct.
Damn, over the head.
But the problem is, you just keep telling them it, and their time frame just keeps moving out. You heard them say like, "Oh, maybe in 20 years if Hex is still around." It's like, that's your time frame, bro. Of like when you think you finally solidified that Hex is good. Double the length of Bitcoin's existence. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, he's just not ready to come around yet. That's all it is.
Hey, thank you guys for the well wishes. Thank you.
Yeah, it's true. It's all true. I can't. It's funny. I mean, you gotta really love, like he said, the sound of his voice to want to do hours and hours of listening to people tell you how and what to buy. And then not buy it, even a little bit, just like $100 worth, to be like, oh, okay, this is how the system works, you know. Impressive. That's impressive.
I saw Big K start shaking uncontrollably when he said that he can't fly private.
I was like,
the travesty.
That's a bummer.
The travesty.
Sucks for you, man. Shit. Well, you could be.
I saw you on the Twitters the other day, sir.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got. Yeah. It was a fun ride. A fun little ride up to Chicago. It was good. I've been doing some filming with the movie folks in and around the city too. So it's been
awesome.
fun. That was a fun little ride. But yeah, it was it would be nice to do that if he just bought some Hex.
This is true.
Can't save everybody.
This is true.
Oh,
all right, gents.
Smart man Yosh is in the chat right there. I wonder what he's saying. Huh, strange.
Bought Hex because of DCC when it was 2/3 of a penny, and bought even more because of the Motley Investor.
Oh, Motley Investor, my favorite Hexagon.
That's right.
Oh,
whales.
Wendy's, my feelings. Wow. Ow.
Oh. Yeah, so pretty much that was the show that I planned for. Any other topics or newsworthy notes while we all got you here? I mean, we've had like this dip in Hex price, of course. I mean, literally like the day of or within 24 hours of the PulseX sack, and of course everybody starts immediately looking for, is it whale games, and turns out, I mean, from what I've seen, it's just a lot of guys who have been just kind of they've seen like, oh, it pumped and I'm getting out, and now it's kind of just fed on itself since yesterday.
Everything needs a narrative.
We saw on PulseChain. Same thing we saw on the PulseChain sacrifice. Like, history tends to repeat itself. Why would you anticipate anything else? Everyone thinks price is going to pump during this sacrifice phase. Take advantage of those first 2 days. What we have, the highest price so far in those first 2 days. Like,
same shit, different sacrifice.
Same shit, different sacrifice. If you're still waiting around, you're fucking up. Fucking sack now. Sack now.
Yeah, I got into it with one of the guys in the Legion VC Telegram, and he's like, "Moon, man, moon." I'm like, "No.
Nope.
You take what you could get in a sacrifice.
Secure what you can get and move on.
Moon will come, but after they sacrifice at the lowest price possible.
Moon doesn't come during the bonding curve. I can tell you that.
No.
It's definitely not going to come during that bonding curve, especially since it's like 40 something days now. Like it's brutal. 10x.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was my next question is like, are we going to have to deal with like another month and a half of stagnant action because of this?
Yeah,
probably.
So.
That's the
I don't think you're going to get too much sacrificing. You might have a few people trailing behind at that point that speculated on price, but like, I mean, shoot, after even like a quarter of what the last sacrifice phase was, you're at like a 2x, and eventually you're going to be at a 10x by the end of it. Once you get to those last 3 days, like it's too brutal to stick around and wait for those prices. And then the OA comes in, and then.
But if you got fiat, it could be a great time to get in and get your double copy. You know, just like let the weekend sell to you.
I mean,
hey, that's a very good point.
Yeah, double up on that hex, baby.
Yep. Because you're gonna have likely. Are we thinking March now, or it's gonna take like another month?
Four more months.
Nobody thought the sacrifice would take this long. So now that the sacrifice is going to the end of February,
I think maybe the end of March, maybe end of April. But yeah, I think it could take a while. You know, it's software, right? Like I'd rather him just get everything he needs to get done. Right. If it doesn't come out till April, May, who cares, right?
What's the worst thing? We collect interest in the meantime. Oh no.
Yeah, buy more hex, more time.
Pretty much. I got a lot of onboards right now that are trying to accumulate as much as possible. So every couple weeks, a new paycheck they get. It's pretty important right now. So especially during these dips, like Wendy's was saying, take advantage of them.
Yep. Don't be a Dave. Buy the dip.
Maybe whales, but I don't think so. I've rarely seen Richard's stuff launch early like that. It would be nice though if we go straight from sacrifice to mainnet, but I would bet against it.
I'm definitely not holding my breath. Let's just say that.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Yeah, Vince just sent something to me, so I gotta get this thing up here. I mean, it's kind of like a happy hour-ish, but someone made Vince's who was it? Hexander. Did y'all see what happened when Vince took over the Twitter Spaces chat from Richard the other day? So
who did? Vince?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. That's so disturbing.
Yeah, there you
go. Fantastic.
Wow, Richard's over in the corner listening.
Yeah, I'm looking into that.
Oh yeah, no sound effects, please. No, thank you. Oh yeah, Vince. All right, anyway. What else? How are you doing, DCC? I saw you had a nice little chat with Coffee there the other night, and interesting little note.
Yeah,
you guys were speculating. That's fair game on ETH 2.0, and then fees even after that would still be multiple dollars, possibly.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, there's going to be some upgrades to Ethereum happening this year, between like quarter 2 to quarter 3, that are going to lower the Ethereum gas fees down. But it's going to be it's a real kind of a band-aid temporary fix, basically, because it's like you add more lanes to the highway. A lot more cars start using the highway. It just gets clogged up again. Basically.
You just have more people come back over from the multi-chains.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. You're going to have people from AVAX, Phantom, Solana, not PulseChain, but a lot of these other chains.
There won't be a bridge yet. Sorry.
Yeah, there will be.
Richard's like, nope, can't leave yet.
Wendy's is going to be in the corner. They're like, when bridge? When bridge?
Raise the bridge.
Wait, raise the bridge. But there's going to be no, actually, that's an interesting fundamental as well. But I'll talk about it later, I guess. But basically, from what I've seen and what I've heard coming down the grapevine, like we might get something like a 30x to 50x reduction in the gas fees. So if we have an $80 transaction fee to use on Uniswap or something like that, it could be like $1.80 to like 80 cents at the low end, and then from there the fees start going back up on ETH basically. So even then, we're, you know, if you just look at comparison, right, we're still going to be at a penny sub penny for PulseChain. So we're still going to be cheaper on PulseChain, but some people will probably use Ethereum for a little bit, and what's going to happen is we'll end up getting kind of a trickle effect, because you're going to have sort of a wave where like a lot of so this is full speculation, guys. So just FYI, don't hold me to this, but what I believe is going to happen is we're actually going to have sort of an underperformance for about maybe like a quarter to half a quarter for a lot of the L1s. A lot of that money goes back to ETH. This could cause a lot of, like, people are really going to be thinking the flipping is going to happen. Either whether it does or doesn't matter. ETH is going to be pretty strong during that time, and then at that point, a lot of the L1s are going to be pretty cheap, and it's going to be a huge opportunity actually. And the money will flow out of ETH, and then basically everyone's going to hate ETH for the fucking rest of the year. Basically, so everyone's like, you see, because it kills the narrative for a lot of L1s. Because if ETH is kind of cheapish, like everyone's the ETH maxis are going to be like, oh my god, you see, I told you Solana's dog shit, you guys. You see, AVAX, like all the guys that not to shit on these guys from like the ETH maxis and stuff, but then after a while, Ethereum goes back to Ethereum again, and the gas fees get pretty high again, and then people leave and go back to the L1s, and then it's L1 season, so all of like crypto Twitter and YouTube is going to be shitting on Ethereum. He's like, you see, even when it upgrades, it doesn't fucking work. Haha, I told you guys. Haha. And so there's a play there if you do like to kind of move around and stuff, but if you don't, I mean, you'll be fine on PulseChain. It's not like we'll just be working just fine and dandy, 100% uptime, you know. Yeah,
while you're on there, DCC, I noticed your tweet as well. 2 of your picks, I guess, for the next year. One, of course, it is PulseChain, but 2 is like GameFi. So are there any, do you see them kind of like a crossover kind of thing there, or just
with one I don't know if it's going to happen just yet, but I do know something like there's probably going to be a migration late 22 of games onto PulseChain. I do believe, because we have to get the swaps and a lot of that other stuff first, like some of the really low hanging fruit, and then when some of that basic stuff is there, and maybe a protocol where you can borrow and lend a little bit on there, which it takes like 2 seconds to get that up and running from Ethereum EVM chain over to a PulseChain EVM. Then we can have these video games come on, pretty simplistic ones and stuff, and then we'll start getting guilds come over, like Yield Guild Games. That's going to be a token that could possibly come over, because it's basically one of my buddies. We were up, like I couldn't go to sleep last night, so I kind of woke up at like 3 in the morning, and then dude's in Japan, and we're joking around. He's like, dude, did I just literally invest into a sweatshop? Because basically these, what's going on is like a lot of these games end up having a lot of these assets, and it's impossible for one. So you're so rich over here in the West or anywhere in the world, wherever you're rich, you end up owning so many assets. It's impossible for you time wise to actually farm all your land and farm all these things in the games, right? So what ends up happening is that you end up giving half of the profits over to a third party, which is you still control all your assets, but you have somebody else in another country, Philippines or something like that, playing the game for you on your land. They get probably like 40% of the money, 10% goes to the middleman, and then 50% goes back to you as the owner of the land, basically, or the whatever the playable the NFT that actually generates an income, basically because of a mini game or something like that.
So and Chinese then, gold farmers from MMOs have come over to blockchain.
Warcraft.
It is World of Warcraft, and I was like, dude, I play World of Warcraft I was a professional World of Warcraft player, so I was like, I know where this is going. So I was like, I'm running straight towards it. I see what's happening, and basically, if you look right now, there's actually, what the hell's the name of it? This sounds really stupid, but I'll tell you guys what it is. Like, I recently invested just a little bit into this, but like, there's something called Avocado DAO, which sounds so dumb. I would never have named it that ever.
Another food.
Yeah, it's food. Yeah, but
forked it to guacamole afterwards. So
yeah, guacamole.
But they make it fresh at your table.
there's some big players invested into it. Like literally known, like really big players in the VC space and then the gaming space and stuff. So you got a lot of Axie money and like Sandbox money, which is big money now in the gaming sector that are investing in. So where I'm right now, I'm seeing a lot of these little a lot of like private guilds start popping up. Obviously, YGG, which is Yield Guild Games, is like the OG of the guilds, which is basically a way you can rent out. Now there's actually competition now. So we're right now we kind of had a monopoly where YGG kind of controlled the space and kind of the pricing terms. Now you're getting another extra 2, 3, 4, 5 competitors, and these other competitors are going to drive the prices down. So then it ends up giving you plus people who are mining the properties and stuff more money, which is actually good. So we're getting more competition in the space, which is like in turn getting a lot of extra money over to the Philippines and stuff. Like famously, like the one country who's benefited the most off of this was literally the Philippines with the Axies and stuff, because like, man, like you should see some of the pictures that I've seen. Like they've literally changed people's lives over there in the Philippines and given them all kinds of resources and medicine and stuff. It's really beautiful, actually. Like it's kind of nice because like I'd rather somebody be playing a video game making money than being out in the field destroying their body. You know, like just, you know, being in water all day with like just sandals, water up to their knees and just working all day, just clearing like marsh or land or something like that. It's pretty like it's a better life, but still it's still kind of, it still doesn't escape me how fucking funny it is really at the end of the day. It's kind of ridiculous, honestly. But yeah.
I have no clue what you're talking about. Sounds like some narrative I heard in 2017 of like we're helping the Filipinos like get out of the rice field. What?
I know, it's so ridiculous, dude.
It's that cold medicine.
But it's legitimately true. It's legit. It's what's happening. Like it's like I've seen the pictures and stuff. I know what's kind of going on. It's like for real.
I've seen JPEGs. It's true.
If you're super poor, man, I'd rather just like if I was like dead broke right now in a third world country, like I would just be grinding these video games, making all these little spare chains and stuff on these other networks, sell those coins, save up Ethereum. I could buy some Hex finally, and then also get myself with Ethereum or trade this out and get USDC, and I have dollars now. You know,
this is a perfect topic.
Don't make me bring Jenna on here and have her do battle with you, because
I'll tie her up now, man. Like that.
You're like 2 steps away right now. Oh man,
I've got the food salad generator in the next tab right now, so let's go.
All right.
Perfect for
the
crypto.
Metaverse is just going to enslave people to work on to mine gold in the fucking third world. That sounds terrible.
It's like Wall-E.
I don't know if I.
It's like Wall-E.
I mean, it's probably happening.
It's
you're
all
right.
based
probably
on.
Gonna make
I mean, you're right. You're right. At some point, look, right now, right? It's a sort of thing right now. We're in the Goldilocks and early zone. So all these guys who are playing right now in early, it's nice. But at some point, the incentives get smaller and smaller as more people get in, and you end up having diminishing returns. And you're right, and that's where it's not cool. But it's like the sort of thing where like I'd rather them get into like the Hex and stuff, and then like, but it's like we all are evangelists and stuff. Well, that's not weird, but you know what I mean, evangelists and stuff. We all like talk Hex everywhere. But at the same time, people are just like they understand video games, so it's like it's sort of the thing where like it's better for them to get onboarded to video games and then get the fuck out of that and then get into like Hex or something like that. But it's like it's really hard to actually onboard somebody into crypto without them like getting into it. So it's like if they don't have any money at all to get into anything because they're so poor, it's like fuck, they're better off getting into crypto, saving up some shekels that way, and then getting out of it. So it's like you end up having net positive, even though it's because it's like we're not seeing them in their real life how fucked up their life is already. So it's like it's so.
Well, that's what I was talking about. I said,
it really is bullshit, honestly.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm sure sitting at a computer clicking away is probably better than
Hex earns you yield, and you don't have to do any of that mindless shit.
Yeah, but you do have to have some money to start. You
have to have economic energy,
or delayed gratification.
You have to have some economic energy. So like, if you have none, all right. I'm pulling out of my dystopic universe. So I was just building up around me with that. Okay, all right, fair enough.
I mean, once there's fiat onboarding though into PulseChain, and you can onboard money like I was saying before. I know somebody
Cheaply.
trying to bring in $500, right?
Yep.
If they're not eat up by fees and they onboard directly to PulseChain, then yeah, you could make some moves with that, right? You can hold Pulse, you could get into PulseX, you could maybe provide liquidity, even if it's only like 250 on each side. I mean, you could do something with it.
Whatever.
Yeah. You go into Ethereum. Imagine buying $500 of Ethereum. First of all, they're going to charge you, on Coinbase or Gemini, and then you send it to a wallet. You can't do anything. You could do a couple cents and it's all gone.
It's gone in a couple cents. Yep.
Yeah, sad.
It's very sad.
Hey, Jim.
Gary, what's going on?
What's up, guys? I don't know if I got too much background noise. I'll try to keep my mute back on.
Sound pretty good right now.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, sounds good.
I'm outside in Miami. Sometimes there's cars going by, but pretty nice out here.
Damn.
I did have I caught the last bit when I came on the stream, and it was Motley saying about sacrifice. I'm sure you guys have been talking about that for the first hour of the happy hour. And you're saying probably about timing. I know that when we went through this in the PulseChain sacrifice, a lot of us delayed till later in that 19-day window. And some of the game mechanics about whale participation versus middle versus lower tier new onboard no coiners. Have you guys come to some consensus before I came on stream? What are your thoughts?
I'm just going to try to pull up the chart here.
I remember Botley saying, do it now, go.
Oh, yeah. Like, what do you consensus on what?
Yeah,
what
it's
do you,
like,
what do you, for me, it was pretty self-evident to just replicate what we saw last time, right? Because the best teachers is going back and looking to see what happened in history before. So we have a model of this bonding curve kind of sacrifice with PulseChain, and everyone expects price to go up, and it does the opposite, right? And that's usually how social consensus goes. Everyone thinks one thing, you're probably going to get the opposite of that. And we learned in the PulseChain one, the first couple days were the best day to sacrifice. And so far, that's rang true during this sacrifice phase. I think we got somewhere upwards of 34, 36 cents. And that was your best sacrifice. I think it was maybe late day 2 or day 3. We had a wallet with about 100 million hex that just started periodically dumping. And the price hasn't really come back since then. So if you didn't sack during that window, I'm sure you still got a decent deal, but it wasn't as good as those first couple days. And now people, once you've seen the price start at a certain point, you want it to go back for there. So people hold out that hope, and they wait and they wait and they wait, and next thing they know, price is even lower and lower and lower. So you've had chances to sack anywhere between 24 and 27 cents, and people don't take that opportunity. And then we seem to kind of be at this floor between 18 and 22 cents. We like to bounce around now. So
well, it's also super obvious, right? Because there's a bonding curve. Me and Motley,
you don't want to get caught in that.
Had been talking about it in private that it was going to be obvious to sack early, or to at least DCA in early, and we were right, because if you just look at it, think about it like this, right? When there's a lot of emotion on the chart, right? You see green, you see red, that's fear and greed, right? When there's a bonding curve that is going to act against you, and there's a time limit on when you can sacrifice and all this, it's going to amplify those kinds of things. So people will panic. People will, we had people in our chats telling us, it's going to go to 66 cents, all this nonsense, it's just not based in reality. And we made the joke earlier, same shit, different sacrifice, if, the history doesn't necessarily repeat, but it rhymes. It looks like it's rhyming pretty good this time.
Yeah. So far.
Yep.
How many more days we got left? 5?
Well, before the bonding, 5.
Yeah. I think after that, honestly, my recommendation to everyone is just don't mess with the bonding curve. At that point, if price doesn't even 5% a day for 40 something days, it's just, to me, it's a no-brainer. If you didn't get the best price, so be it. You're still in a VC round of investing, right? The coin doesn't exist. You have the ability to get a certain multiplier depending on what kind of volume you can bring to the table, and you're gonna get a 10,000 to 1 point points, but those are going to potentially turn into coins, no expectations. I mean, this is going to potentially be some of the best pricing you're ever going to get for the PulseX token. I think it's going to do very well in this new ecosystem. So I would recommend getting in at least DCA and in before that bonding curve starts. Once the bonding curve starts, it's going to get ugly for you the longer you wait. Compounding interest is a bitch whenever it gets you.
So some of the no coiners I've been talking to, they had Coinbase as far as their KYC, but they really hadn't participated much in Coinbase. They just had it basically as an account. And what I've told them most recently is USDC, you can send, if they didn't have any Ethereum at all inside of a MetaMask account, then I tell them to go into Ethereum because they can get it on Coinbase, send it to their MetaMask wallet, and then reserve enough Ethereum because that's gas also up as well. Reserve enough to do the actual sacrifice element if they're going to send in Ethereum. And messing around with the price movement, whether it's positive or negative, it just depends on your perspective. Like, which is better, 5,000x or 10,000x? Well, everyone's obvious could say 10,000x would be better, but isn't 5,000x great? So if you say you're going to wait for a price movement to go up, whether it's in Hex or some other kind of Ethereum or DAI or some other thing you're sacrificing, that's kind of just saying your multiple is different. And I think that the project is amazing, no matter whether it's PulseX or PulseChain. So the other thing that I comment on is people say to me, oh, I should have done PulseChain because PulseChain is the base token for the new network. It's an L1 token or a coin. And so I say, just buy PulseX and then rebalance once it releases. Once they release, you can say you want 50% in PulseChain and 50% in PulseX, but the best participation is PulseX at this moment. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, so I actually was playing around with these ideas with Wave 3 TV the other day, and one of the questions got posed to me was, what do you think is going to be better, like PulseX or PulseChain? And obviously, you have to put it within a time frame. And my initial gut reaction is kind of to lean more towards PulseX because everything's going to funnel back into these premier assets regardless. And like you said, you're going to be able to just reallocate and balance these out to stacks that you deem appropriate. One's going to run over the other. You can reallocate it back into a different stack if you feel like you don't have enough. For me with PulseX, it carries a lot of the same traits that PulseChain does. It's deflationary, but then it has this massive feature of this buyback and burn that goes in with 21% volume of the fees, which is massive. Like PulseChain is going to have a burn, but it's going to be very, very small compared to what PulseX is going to have. So PulseX is going to have a larger burn. It's going to have a buyback feature, and it only ramps up as PulseChain and the DEX PulseX becomes more successful. It just ramps up that buyback pressure and that scarcity. So like, I think PulseX has the ability to run harder than just about anything. Now, my one caveat that I'll put to this is the fact that I feel a lot of people, from what I've gotten, just kind of general consensus is a lot of people feel like they didn't get enough on PulseChain because it was the first time we dealt with the sacrifice phase, bonding curve. People were learning, feeling it out. And the consensus I got was essentially a lot of people felt like they didn't get enough. So I think a lot more people at least aped in equal amounts, if not maybe more into PulseX. So I think you could maybe see a rebalancing scenario like you talked about maybe early on. People used a little bit of that PulseX to dump back into Pulse. But my gut feeling is PulseX has the ability to really take off just with how the mechanisms and the extra fundamentals it has in place. Long term, as long as PulseChain is successful, I mean, Ethereum's quite clear that the network token is going to do very, very well. And on average, I think every chain has done like 140 or 160x. So like, I mean, you're going to win. You're going to win every which way. It's just...
Keep talking your shit, Molly. Keep talking that shit, bro. Keep going.
It's varying degrees at that point, right? It's just like, okay, 160x, 200x, 1000x. It's just, it's all relative at a certain point.
Number one, sir, you shouldn't be dropping this much alpha on a public stream. You're upsetting me. You're upsetting me. But I would say, I'll say a couple things. I 100% agree. And the thing that people don't think that you think like, oh, well, PulseChain is going to burn, Pulse no matter what you do, right? So it doesn't matter what dApp. You could be doing DeFi, you could be doing all these things. What is the primary use of a blockchain? It's speculation on other assets, right? The primary thing that people are going to be doing is trading. And where are they going to be trading? On PulseX, okay? That's going to be the primary thing. So I think that you're right that people are going to sell PulseX, especially for Pulse. That is I shouldn't be saying this again, but since you're dropping alpha, I'll say it too. In my opinion, it's a dumb trade. It's a dumb trade. And so think about it like this. You're dealing in a closed ecosystem, especially in the beginning. So you're going to be trading against ratios. Typically, you want to wait for a ratio trade to go very, very green. So like what you could do is wait for all these guys that are buying PulseX that really should have been buying Pulse to trade into Pulse, pumping Pulse, and then you can trade, do the opposite of what they're doing, right? The other thing that people aren't talking about is you could be buying Hex and doing the same thing, right? So do you want to go in the trade that everybody is in? Like if a lot of people are buying PulseX to sell it for Pulse, then Pulse is going to pump really, really hard, right? So you could do a couple things. You could do if you have like a decent sized Pulse bag, you could be like, okay, well these fools are pumping my bag. Then you could rebalance into more PulseX. And then if PulseX is as bullish as we say, then you just like completely out traded them. Or you could, take that and go into more T-shares on PHEX if PHEX is dumping. So, so there's that. But yeah, I mean, especially out the gate, yeah, it's gonna outperform because that's the primary thing that's gonna be going on the blockchain. It's how people build dApps.
It's the heartbeat of PulseChain is PulseX. Like everything funnels through PulseX, and it has a massive buyback and burn feature that goes with it, and it's a deflationary token. Like I think people still don't realize how good PulseX is going to do. Like I think PulseX is like
they are now, unfortunately.
When Richard went over the tokenomics, I was just like, my God, like this is going to do really well. Like really.
I mean,
really
you're kind of starting with like a trading account in a sense because that other half of the liquidity is there, and you're not going to have to route around ETH fees. So you're not going to want to go to a Change Now or Simple Swap because fees are too bad. It's all right here.
Yeah, so. Just think about what's going to take place once this thing launches. No one can operate on Ethereum.
I leave
you're getting
for like 5 minutes, and y'all are here telling all the fucking secrets. Huh?
I didn't start this.
I'm like, maybe you should hop on a jet next time and not take us with you.
Guy.
All right.
Yeah. What the hell's up with that?
Yeah. What the fuck? But yeah. So you're gonna have these absolutely cheap fees. You're going to have the other side of the liquidity given to you for free. You're going to have this new LP token, which I'm sure Richard is going to well, not Richard, maybe some entity snatches up a massive supply of a massive supply of it, and it's deflationary. It'll be inflationary, but like kind of like with the Bitcoin, it'll have a cap. It's a certain point, and it'll be decreasing inflation as time goes on. And why would PulseX just not absolutely just be pumping transactions through, and they just make sure PulseX that much more valuable and rare? Like it's
here's the math. Like play around with the math, and you're like with what like the average volume is on different exchanges, what it's been over the course of the year or the last 2 years. Yeah, and look at what the buyback is going to be, and
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let me go first since we're giving it all out. Have you guys thought?
Fuck it.
About
God.
Yeah, sure, why not? Have you guys thought about who is going to be able to liquidity mine the hardest on that new token? Yeah. I mean, probably the entity that gets all of the coins out of the liquidity.
That's harvesting all from everything else. Yeah. Yep.
Weird.
Yep.
So I imagine that there's going to be, like you said, there's going to be a very deflationary aspect to that system as well.
So the fact that they are synergistic and one adding to the other. I mean, when you do a PulseX transaction, you're also using PulseChain and doing a burn. So it's a compounding effect in the whole ecosystem, right? So as you do a trade, you're also using the network, whether it's on the DEX. So I delayed too long on the sacrifice with this narrative in my head about what would happen on the first PulseChain sacrifice, and I waited too long. But I went in pretty heavy. I mean, it was significant. And when I went in heavy, I was like, fuck, I got to make up for it in volume because I didn't do it on the ratio, but I need to get in this. Then on this, because it's had 5 or 6 months of conversation about, what is a sacrifice? What is the effect? This thing. And then it got launched as another sacrifice of the PulseX DEX. I think that there's more people that obviously got the message over the past 6 months and more participants. I don't know that we'll hit the $700 million mark like we did on the first one, because the curve is different. Maybe people feel tapped in some degree about Christmas or the timing of it, things like that. But I will say
there's still a big sacker out there too.
Think about this, Gary, because you just said it, right? You went much larger this go around, and so
this time I went maybe 5 times as big as I did on the first one.
And price is double right now, and we're still not seeing as much money. You know what that means? That means our hex bags are rare as fuck right now. The liquid hex on the market is drying up fast. Like this is the whole point of these sacrifice phases. It takes all this liquid hex off the market, and like we're prime examples of it because we're FOMO into the States, which PulseX is going to do great and everything, but at the same time we're almost simultaneously pumping our hex bags because hex just became infinitely more rare. I think someone put a statistic out there today, like almost 10% of all the liquid hex has just immediately been gone during the sacrifice phase. Like Richard's a mad genius.
We just need 9 more to go. 9 more sacrifice phases.
9 more
Let's go, boys. Let's go, boys.
Well, that's the thing is if you stay inside the ecosystem and you think that Hex is a better Bitcoin, that you think that PulseChain is a better Ethereum, and you think that PulseX is a better decentralized exchange, really the ping ponging, Crypto Coffee had put out a tweet and asked what his next content should be about. I think it will be or should be about this bouncing or this ping pong inside of a closed ecosystem of value. You're going to see the charts ratchet up on one topic or one product or coin, and then you'll see commentary and influence and more interest as it ratchets up. And then if it does have a denouement or has, without being a collapse, but has a denouement or a stalling period, people will move over to the next thing that seems to be climbing instead of going outside of the ecosystem to other products in other blockchains or other narratives. It becomes an echo chamber of value in a way, because if you like any particular thing on any other network, something is offered within this one.
And that's why all these premier assets in this ecosystem are so important, right? Because like if you own all the premier assets, like you said, you get that ping ponging effect, you get that funneling back in effect, and one of your bags is going to run up, like you said, it stalls, dips, what have you, and then it's going to get funneled into the next one and then into the next one. And you just have this self-perpetuating machine inside this ecosystem that just continues to pump all your bags. And the value stays within all your premier holdings. That's why, like, to me, it just never made sense when people were talking about all those degen plays of speculating on this ERC20 and this ERC20. It's just not necessary, because like exactly what you just described is going to take place. And it's just going to cause the value of these premier assets in this ecosystem to go through the roof. So like, why take a flyer? Why go full speculative mode and just like, man, I hope Chainlink comes over and makes this Chainlink worth it. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But I'd rather just own the PulseX, the Pulse, and the Hex. I'd rather own the best store value, the best network, and the best DEX token that exists, as opposed to take any flyers on this stuff that could just go to absolute zero. So to me, it's just a no-brainer, and it's an easy play for anyone that's here now to just become incredibly successful and wealthy. It's just to own these assets, and you have the chance to do so today.
Well, it's
like
interesting.
The old saying goes, the Hexicans get richer.
When the community first was originating, when Richard was more on top of this smaller community about don't shill other products within his Telegram groups, things like that. What's very interesting is this PulseChain and PulseX has opened up people that have this longer history of 2 or 3 years of supporting Hex and growing community and things like that. And when Nicole does her building bridges, even in the past year, it hasn't been that warmly received to be talking about other people's product. But inside of this, it is more open that you can talk about DAI, you can talk about Link if it's inside of the E-Link or the P-Link version. You know, that it is more of an outbound messaging that we are able to do also to existing crypto people instead of really only engaging no coiners. What are your thoughts about building bridges when it comes to the ecosystem, the half of the bag that people have that's a PulseChain narrative? What are your thoughts?
I think the kumbaya shit doesn't really matter. The liquidity will go where it's treated best. So if you create incentive, if you create good incentive, like, you know, like I said, I move millions of dollars from chain to chain. I go where the money's at. I don't give a shit if somebody's like welcoming, you know, me. I get like a postcard in the fucking mail. Just give me the money.
He doesn't like my.
But I'm here for the
try to give him a hug.
So again, people think that people will keep an even, you know, wait until, you know, is this going to be Betamax replaced by VHS? Is this going to be one version of the same product but in a better treated ecosystem? You know, is it going to be a movement over time from an expensive and hostile network to a more money-friendly one? What do you say as far as that movement?
I think it just depends on the narrative, right? Like, you know, so like my friend I was talking about that has $500 to invest. Of course, like her narrative is like, you know, she needs to get the most amount out of the money that she has, right? And for a whale that is earning, I don't know, let's say like 10% on QuickSwap or 8% on QuickSwap, and he can earn 30% on PulseX, like he has a different narrative, right? He doesn't care about the fee so much. He just is going where the money's at. So I think you're gonna have all of those things, and then the projects that are completely priced out because of gas fees, they're gonna have a place to go. So I think that everyone's gonna have like a different narrative, but in the end, we'll all be on the same network. And you know, hopefully, some people that are just buying, you know, some people just bought Ethereum to use it, and maybe they like forgot about it and saw it, you know, going up in value a lot, and maybe became Ethereum maximalists. Maybe we'll have the same thing for PulseChain.
Yeah. You cover, I know that there's going to be delegating for earning single pool, earning more PulseChain. You can delegate to different validators. What is the, you know, the least, if you want to even call it risk, but, you know, I know that they were keep saying about if PulseX, about having, would we have a single pool option, you know, about earning more PulseX.
Like a single-sided staking or something?
Yeah,
that's what he was talking about, but I don't think
staking. Is there anything
See,
like
that's
that?
one thing that, like, if he doesn't know about that yet, that's what makes me think that like it could take a little bit longer for it to come out. But I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think it necessarily needs it. You know, like it'll be good by itself. Like we were talking about before, with like, you know, it could get to the point where hundreds of millions of dollars are bought in a year of PulseX, just automated not from like me and you buying, literally just from people using PulseX.
Yeah.
So you know, that's crazy. Like, can you imagine if that was happening with Hex? Like, that would just be nuts. Like, what would we be at? Like, you know, $100 now if that was happening? I mean, that's insane. So it's kind of hard to say, but I mean, I guess we'll see as time goes on. But I don't even think it needs single-sided staking. I think it could just be a store of value that's just sits in your wallet. Like, you know, why does it have to do that if it's just constantly going up, right? If it's being bought.
Well, part of the value add, I think he was saying, was that you would have this unnamed token that is the DAO. And if you are, you know, the weight of
if you're staking, you can vote, maybe something like that.
You could be deciding which pair gets additional PulseX is what I remember.
Yeah, so I guess if you did some kind of thing where you said, okay, you to stake, you get no benefits from staking, but other than being involved in the DAO, and maybe there's like a time, you know, it takes 30 days to unstake, 60 days, 90 days, whatever it is, like that could cause, you know, less selling pressure, right? Because if someone wants to sell, they got to go, oh, well, I guess I got to unstake, and then they can't vote for that period of time, and they can't sell for that period of time. So some kind of like, you know, stickiness like that could be potentially pretty good for price. But Yeah, that could work.
Well, it's an interesting thing because you can, like he's talked about years ago, and it's true that if you're a founder of anything, you're going to, over time, bring up the value of your share or token or whatever, but you are diluting your ratio, what percentage of it that you own, right?
Right.
And you know, for the most part, I think that the majority of the PulseX, if you look at just the numbers of how many people donated or sacrificed Hex versus other things, it's a pretty good ratio. That I think it's $80 million is Ethereum, and something like 220 or 30 million is Hex, and then there's other smaller, 8-figure kind of numbers. So that really does mean that a majority, as far as Hex dollar value, seems to be that the majority are hexagons. And if hexagons in general have majority of the DAO token, they can always decide that the pair of EHEX, PHEX is awarded additional. You know, it's almost like saying you are the deciders of what, pair or individual single pool maybe gets earns for staking or earns for being participant in the network.
I think the
absolutely.
I think the OA might outweigh our individual votes.
But I think there's a danger that wasn't again. I hear the narrative about 90% diluted, but I think that again I may be completely wrong and probably will be. So don't take this as any advice or anything. In the PulseChain last moments sacrifice window, of course, 90% or whatever it is, 95% is some super whale, $14 billion as far as dollar amount. That makes sense. However, when it is a DAO, this idea of a decentralized, automated, kind of communal voting rights kind of thing, it's almost like saying I am the dictator and you have voting rights, but I'm not going to listen to anything. Right. So I don't know that he can necessarily come in the last minute when there is this DAO concept.
It's definitely questionable for a governance token to do that.
Yeah, it's a governance token and you are awarded, and you have the sword of Damocles that, hey, 95% of all PulseX is owned by a single anonymous entity, which always could shift the DAO. I don't know that politically plays out great. What are your thoughts about that DAO idea?
I mean, I agree with you, and I think a lot of coins that have gone the DAO route did so to avoid regulation, and so they become sufficiently decentralized by doing that, by essentially giving, so like MetaMask could do that, right? Like, so MetaMask, if there was any, they say, oh well, you guys are not sufficiently decentralized. Well, then they just say, okay, well, everyone who used our swap function gets some of the governance token, right? And that you become like, part of MetaMask DAO. So yeah, of course, if you were to make a ton of tokens for yourself, then and you could vote anything yes or no, that you wanted, then it's not true governance. But yeah, it's definitely tricky because it's always like you could do that and then you could just never vote, and you could just do it for market cap.
That's what I was thinking. It's for market cap and the coins just never vote. It's kind of like it's like the OA displaying the fact that the coins never sell. It's the same situation with the DAO where they essentially take the mass centralized supply just mainly for market cap because it is a deflationary token and it is going to have one of the highest burn rates and buybacks and burn rates. So you almost need entity to hold a large supply of the tokens to keep market cap in place. But then, like Wendy's just said, it just never votes. Just like the OA never sells, the PulseX OA never votes. So it could be like that.
Well, again, the narrative that market cap doesn't matter as well as market cap matters being said at the same time by the same group of people doesn't really play. So if we keep saying all the time that it doesn't matter, but we know that the outside crypto bros do think of it as a narrative of value, and they say that this is true. It's not really
it's gamifying the system, right? Because like if they're going to give you the parameters, like if you have the game and they give you the rule set and you happen to be smarter than the game designers and just like, okay, I'll design a token that breaks your model, and we did it with Hex. We're going to do it with PulseChain, and now we're going to probably end up doing it with PulseX. And yes, it doesn't matter, but we're also going to be the best at your game because you set these stupid parameters that it doesn't have to matter anymore but we're going to just show you that we can literally be number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the top cryptocurrencies in the world because like we can gamify your stupid metrics, and we already solved those issues
True.
with.
Do you think that don't you think that there's a potential? I'm not. Maybe I shouldn't be saying those types of things. It's not really like I'm trying to troll. I'm trying to say, what's the purpose of saying it's a DAO if it's not a DAO? That's the issue. You're going to have another token which is issued based on you're staking PulseX or you're in some kind of 30-day lock or whatever the number might be. If it ends up becoming a locking mechanism, and it is so that you have voting rights. And majority, what I'm getting at is a majority of the people that are in PulseX sacrificed so far appear to be hexagons, because that's the majority of the token that has been sacrificed so far as far as dollar value. So, the narrative to have that kind of value, significant number, $222 million is probably people that delayed gratification. I don't think that that's market bought Hex in the past 6 months of $222 million worth of Hex. I don't think that's market bought that said, hey, I'm going to sacrifice it 6 months into my stake or into my ownership of a Hex token. I think that is a majority of people that have been in this thing 2 years or 3 years and they've seen trend. Same thing with the whale, Real God Whale, putting in 7777 Ethereum. There's a whole mechanism about why that wasn't Hex. People gave him shit over that, but there's a whole reason why he did that. And it is to protect the hexagon theme, the staking theme, and the value of the token of Hex. Did you guys already talk about that earlier?
And he did ETH the first sack too, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. I wasn't surprised by that at all, really. But...
Nope.
It depends on perspective.
Well, why would you pump, because I think
And
he's all the way
slippage.
staked. He's 100% staked. So why would you pump everyone else's bags that's going to sack against you? Yeah.
And then
you want more of the pie.
That's
just smart.
And then you have the TWAP, because you do have whale games out there, and so you have a 30-minute window where there's a lot of players with a lot of money and Hex that could sell down your price of your TWAP. So there's those three factors. Like, it just doesn't make sense for that large of a player to sacrifice Hex.
There's like the other fourth factor that, like, if you want if you believe in the project and you want the whoever's running that address, to be able to actually use a large portion of funds and not like sell down, because the Hex is going to most likely stay there, right? But most of the other stuff is probably going to be turned into USDC and like can be for whatever, who cares? But like, if you're willing to, that's a much nicer gesture in some regards, also for the the usability of the funds.
Well, that's an excellent point, because some single entity or individual controls the sacrifice address, and if it is 7,777 Ethereum that can be liquidated, that is actual funds to pay developers and other things. Although you're not supposed to plan on or think about anything ever coming of fruition from those funds, the fact is it's a liquid account most likely. And money doesn't have any purpose if it's not used. Hex has a purpose in the anchoring, and it doesn't have a sell down necessarily by Diamond holding, sacrificed Hex $222 million. It's very unlikely that reaches the market anytime soon. But the Ethereum is actual usability of funds. I think it's what Kurkowski was just saying. It's funds that have ability to utilize to buy anything.
Yeah, and I think depending upon the prices, they were all sold for stables rather rapidly last time. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Ethereum's trending down. I did see the other things. There's a guy, is it Crypto 7 or something like that? He was saying the 10 reasons why whales are playing whale games or something. He just did a YouTube video earlier today, I saw. So there's all kinds of mechanics about why these things are happening. It's very, very curious. But I need to sacrifice again today. Like, Motley's convinced me I need to stop fucking around with the last 1/8 of the thing I was going to put in. I'm going to put my last
Gary.
in. Yeah.
Funny.
I was averaging over time. It was like, okay, another chunk, but now I just need to put the last bit in.
Well, if it's Hex, today might not be a good day to do it, but if it's not Hex, then yeah, well, if you're in stables, then that's fine. But I don't know. Everything's taking a dump today, really. Nice T-share payout just rolled over 797.92.
Ooh, that's good. That's
oh
fat.
yeah.
You know what it is? It's all these emergency end stakes just so they can sacrifice a little bit more. I know a lot of people that had stakes that just weren't quite ending right. And yeah, there's been a lot of emergency end stakes during the sacrifice period.
Yeah, that, and it looked like earlier today, I mean, it almost looked like another hack because the stake length that emergency end staked just got nuked. Yeah.
Was it just,
they weren't expecting this.
Was it just one stake?
I thought it was 2 or 3, but I mean, there's been so many, I gotta scroll all the way back. But
it was a few. But
yeah, it was a few. Yeah, there was one for 2,000 days served 719. Payout 21 million hex, penalty 30 million hex.
Here's the thing: when you tell everyone to only do 5, you don't have any money to invest in other projects, so you stay wrecked for at least 7.5 years.
That's why a ladder's good.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we've been saying since the beginning, but some people don't preach that.
This is true. This is true. Yeah, there were multiple. So 4.5 million penalty. This was about 12 hours ago. 30 million penalty, 3 million penalty. They were all right in a row. So I haven't even looked up the addresses.
Yeah,
but
you'd have to look at the address and go check out the rest of the stakes that are still in play. But yeah, it doesn't sound good.
But I did look earlier today. I think today is the 5th highest T-share hex per T-share payout.
That's what always cracks me up with people saying it's going to go down over time. It's like, no, the people who didn't do the proper staking ladders and stuff and threw stuff out too far, there's going to be other stuff later on, and they're going to end, at 7.5 years. I mean, do you realize the amount of interest that's going to come to stakers at that point? It's crazy.
It's just it's a no-brainer. Just over time, you just have these key events, and then you have those milestones, like you were saying, the 2.5 year mark, the 5 year mark, the 7.5 year mark, where people reach that halfway point. And it's not just the interest, right? Like our interest, our APY is 38-40% for the average, but when you couple that with price appreciation, it's just thousands. So like when you get out to those years of 2.5, 5, 7.5 years, Hex could be sitting at multiple $1,000s, and there's just a lot of people that just like, yep, I've delayed gratification long enough, and I didn't put enough rungs on my ladder. I'm gonna go ahead and in-stake, take my principal, and run, and they're gonna make a ton of money. But the people that are really just gonna win out are again the people that just said that did what they said they were gonna do, and they continue to hold their stakes, and they're just gonna make a massive amount of money. Massive. Like these paydays are going to be like unfortunately with the one with Hex 19 where it's like 4 times the Hex payout. Like those are going to be like reoccurring things. Like that's going to be like someday there'll be an average payout. And then imagine getting a big emergency end stake and you get 4 times of that. Like it's going to be crazy. You're getting over 100 Hex payout per day on like an emergency end stake day. Like it'll get crazy, absolutely crazy for every T-share you have in the system. And most of us at least have a couple T-shares in the system at this point. Everyone that's here right now.
Yes, I do have a couple.
That's it. Just a couple.
Yeah, voting accident.
I'm going to be quiet because I'm a silent shell.
I was on like 3 yachts. I lost all my treasures.
There's video evidence of you being on the yachts. So
yeah, they don't do well in water. I left them in my pocket. Oops.
Exactly. Yeah, and I've heard like DCC say this too. It's like, well, I guess what we're kind of like 5 years away from it now because we've already been through 2. But a lot of those original stakes, 7.5. I don't know. It'll be.
It's a long time, man. It's a long time. Some people the temptation is going to be too much.
Did you guys talk about the number of participants as far as the number of wallets that participated? Because in the PulseChain sacrifice, there was 41,810 wallets, and in the Pulse lead, there's right now 34,114 wallets. I think that's a pretty impressive ratio for being 5 days into this. The interest level as far as the number of wallets, maybe not the dollar amount, is is about halfway to the same. But I think that's more wallets at this point in the sacrifice window of the first one versus the current one.
Yeah, I think it's easy to see why though, because like if you think about even just thinking about like Richard's Twitter followers, like he didn't have the reach that he has now. And you know, like all Hexicans were ready for PulseChain, but I have tons of friends that like are not even Hexicans, and you know, I'm just constantly trying to get them in, and they just get wrecked and rug pulled over and over again, and they didn't even really like know about PulseChain, you know. So I'm like, dude, you need to sacrifice. Like, what are you doing? Like, do you want to stay wrecked forever? And so now, and we didn't have like specific like PulseChain streamers or TikTokers or you know all that stuff. Now we do.
Now we do.
And now they're getting a lot of views. I was watching a video today and there was like 11,000 views, and I was like, damn, like you don't really see that too often.
They're the fastest growing channels too. Like I mean, they're 5,000, 8,000, 10,000 subscribers, and it's just I think it's something that
in like a
we
month.
realized quite early on that these network tokens and stuff, they're easier to grasp, they spread better, and then you have the proof of concept behind the founder Richard Hart in creating one of the best store values to ever exist. It's just a recipe for success with this new ecosystem.
And to me, like that presence is magnified even more. And it just speaks volumes because the gatekeeping. It's not people aren't being paid to do this. You're not going to see it on a BitBoy, even though he'll, you know, say, hey, I sacked, but I'm not going to talk about it.
I'm not going to talk about it because I didn't get money for it.
That's right.
But he only talks about things that go down 99%.
Yeah, I don't talk about good shit. I don't talk about the good shit that I invested in. I only talk about the shit that I'm paid to talk about.
But these channels are getting all these views in spite of that, which is I find quite amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's great. I love it.
There's some new ones like you saw. What's her name? That she's the blonde that makes really good commentary. She had like 20,000 views today, and she just released. There's a brand new girl that she just had like 100 maybe like 50 subscribers a week ago, and now she's got like 300 or 400. So you know, you see people stepping into the. I'll talk about you know, this PulseChain, PulseX thing, and then they always give props. It seems they give props to, you know, the reason why this is probably going to do well is because Richard and the community have done well over the past 2 to 3 years. So we're kind of like the gold standard when it comes to communities. That's one of the reasons why there's value add on the network that's coming up.
Community, product, code, founder. We hit all the metrics you want to hit. It's great. And we actually see that entire ecosystem come into play in 2022. Like, I don't think people realize what we're going to do in 2022, but like, I just can't wrap my mind around the numbers because it's going to be absolutely wild. As long as we launch in 2022, I think we're just going to do something.
You know, I'm in the camp that you know, like even if it gets pushed back some, like I think it's good because more and more people are finding out about it and they can't get in, right? And it's like they're just going to be waiting. They're going to be like, I want it so bad, I want, you know, and I've got that from like friends, you know, that they didn't sack for Pulse and now they want it so bad, you know. And it's like all these people just want to buy at market launch, you know. So it's one of those things. Like
my philosophy is always just like do it right. Like I don't care how much time it takes, just do it right. That's all that matters because you only get one launch, so don't fuck it up. And I think Richard has that same mentality.
We do have one with the palm trees, by the way, Cabana.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm like 99% sure. I'll try to find it after stream.
I think I saw it. Some guy on Motley's yacht, not Motley's personal yacht, but the yacht Motley was on, had it, and I was like, "That's pretty badass." That fits the show. I won a couple.
Did you take advantage of the sale we did specifically for you? I hope you did.
Probably not.
Actually, I did not because I was sick. Friday but you know what? I'm going to buy a full price, so that's on me.
that works too.
Look at that support.
Yeah. Excellent.
No, that's my screw up. So no worries there.
Hit him with the T-shirt, full price.
Yep. That's right. I'll sacrifice the extra few bucks. So.
I gotta reload.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I may have to take off on everyone. I'm getting multiple messages. I'm trying to field too much going on here.
I mean, we're at 2 hours. I think this is a good.
Yeah, let's do it.
What do you think, host?
Let's show the stuff. We got a bonus hour here, so I'm happy.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it was great.
And we have the conference tomorrow. Plug. So
yeah,
that's for 4 more days. So see all your favorite Hexkins. I'm guessing everyone here is participating.
I can't.
Oh.
RG3 and I are going to, and also some Super Sharks, a couple of Super Sharks, and some other people are going to Houston. It's Kisaki, Ron Paul, Gammon. It's all those people, and RG3 is going to meet them all. So
far more important.
Going to be on RG3's show, and then RG3 had some family issues that he needed to address, so he couldn't do it then. But we should have these guys on camera, basically from this coming weekend. So we're in Houston. I can't be in the show.
Well, I do remember your presentation last year, but yeah, you have far more important matters in terms of value add this year. So you go.
There's so many people that are super crazy influential and wealthy that just in the past few days are really excited about PulseChain, PulseX. If you talk to the Germans, or if you see the German guys from the road trip, they might have posted some video that I brought them to some people's houses yesterday or the day before. I don't know if they posted that yet, but yeah, be excited about all of the participants in the whole ecosystem that we've, as a community, and Richard has innovated and we've built out. Really exciting stuff.
Outstanding. All right, Wendys4Tendies, as we close out, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at 4Tendies. You can find me recently with Motley in the Legion VC News on Telegram, and he sometimes drops alpha in there, and I have to yell at him. So if you're a lover of all things alpha, follow us there.
That's a fun place to hang out. I can vouch for it.
It is. It's a pretty fun chat. Yeah. Hexmerch.com for all your Hex and Pulse chain merch, and then I'll let Motley go. Oh,
literally go.
Are you showing?
Literally
go.
Okay, I'll show. Our Altcoin Drip is our news store for if you have any friends that are into shit coins and any coin that's not in the Hex and Pulse chain.
And it funnels umbrella. Back to hexmerch.com, so it's beautiful. It's a good way to introduce people in the degeneracy world back to Hex and Pulse chain.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? If we're trying to have the number one a crypto merch store over there, and having Hex and Pulse on there is legitimizing it, because they don't know that Hexagons own it, right? So we're going to be pumping a lot of ad revenue and stuff into that.
The gradient is a little bit of a hint, but
it's a little bit. It was much more obvious before we changed it, but yeah. So yeah, if you have some friends into shitcoins, send them our way, and we'll hook them up.
Nice. Motley Investor.
Pretty much what Wendys4Tendies said. Go check out Legion VC News Telegram. That's t.me/Legion VC News. You can go follow me, Motley Investor, on everything: YouTube, Twitter, Telegram, Instagram, TikTok. Go follow the Legion VC News YouTube channel. Maybe Wendys and I will go hop on and do a video real quick after this, so stand by. And what else do we got coming out? We got some cool stuff that's pretty much coming close to completion. Really just waiting on the launch of PulseChain, so stay tuned.
Children wants to know when Hex condoms.
I think they're already out. Yeah,
longer pays better. Yeehaw. Right.
They already are out there.
They exist, bro.
Excellent. Funding Jim, where can we find you?
Twitter seems to be the most active. I've been growing pretty fast there. And of course, reach out to me on Telegram. Really, I have to say, I get reached out often about tax structure and things like that. That's what I've been educating people over about the past couple of years. But I really don't have time to work with individual clients as much as before. And it is because if you know someone that is $20 million net worth or higher, and they're not crypto, then I'll make the investment of my time and resources to go talk to them directly. So if you do the warm introduction sort of thing and set it up with me and them, then it doesn't matter where they are in the planet. I go and do those things. So that's really what my activity is over the coming year. And I'm kind of pivoting away from anything commercial. I'm turning off anything that's ad revenue-ish stuff about YouTube or anything like that. I really don't have the time to manage that stuff anymore. But I do have the goal of talking mostly with real estate people because I have a big real estate play interest. And then as far as the ecosystem of Hex, PulseChain, PulseX, it doesn't matter as far as the ecosystem. I'll talk to those no coiners that have a net worth in that realm or higher. So most of the people I've been talking with in the past month or two are probably worth 300 or 400 million, but I'm going to have a tier of a minimum of 20 million, and I'll make the investment to go talk to those people. So reach out to me if you know someone that you're afraid to contact and they need some kind of validation, not from me, but from my peers. They'll talk on my behalf.
Nice. Big K.
Hey, what's going on here?
Hey, man. Hey. I was happy to join your elite fantasy football club of 3.
Yeah.
Just wanted to throw that out there as a champion with you and Smoking Cutler's Jays. So anyway.
Yes, you did. Yes.
Happy fantasy football season to you. Thank you, sir. Anyway, where can we find you, Big K?
Oh, well, I mean, you can find me on Twitter at Big Kurkowski. You can find me on Telegram at Big Kurkowski. You can find me basically those places. I'm also make sure to go take a look at thehigheststakes.com, and I'm sure that if you want to send something our way for what we're doing, that'd be awesome too. But yeah, we're just we're getting all sorts of been working on a lot of that stuff. So I'm super busy. So please don't reach out unless you really need me.
Got it. All right, gents. Well, that's going to wrap us up for today. Turned actually into a over 2-hour stream. Just thought we were going to be an hour or less, but thank you for all the panel coming on. Also, Dollar Cost Crypto, Funding Jim showing up. So appreciate that. Motley, Tendies, Big K. Just turned out to be an awesome stream. So if you got here late, go ahead and check it out. We chatted with Dave Levine for the first hour about a lot more Hex than I thought because he kept wanting to talk about it, but also some PulseChain and PulseX too. So I think it was a good listen. So yeah, we'll see everybody. Hex conference, virtual conference tomorrow through Sunday. Not sure about happy hour. We might try to pregame it on Friday really quick. And yeah, we'll see. So knock, knock. And
when does it start?
Yep.
Do you know? What's the
That's an
start time?
excellent question. Like time of day.
I'm the first panel.
I am too. That's why I'm asking when it starts.
I think I'm there with you guys.
All right. Not good that not one of us knows.
Well, Maddie telegraphed me.
At 6:30 is what Maddie.
6:30 is the sound check, right?
So I think we go on at 7.
Okay. All right. I'll try to be there.
Oh no. 6:30 Central, so whatever that is. So
Central.
So it'd be 7:30 Eastern. So I guess 8 o'clock Eastern. I'm guessing. Don't quote me. Do your own research. All right, fam. Later, Hexicans. Thanks, dudes. Thanks for the show, and we'll see you next time.